It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, Prime Ticket presents the Dodgers as they take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Sunday to you, wherever you may be. Wasn't that little rain this morning delicious? Well, it seemed to clear up the air here at Dodger Stadium as the D-backs and the Dodgers finish up Game 3, and it's also their 9th meeting of the year with 9 to go. The D-backs, by winning last night, are 3 games back of the Giants, and they have beaten the Dodgers 5 out of 8. The pitchers today, left-handed Joe Saunders on the mound with a record of 7 and 8. The Dodgers have beaten him twice this year, and they are 13 and 14 against left-handers, 7 and 7 here at Dodger Stadium. On the mound for the Dodgers, young Ruby De La Rosa with a record of 4 and 4. One other note, and we'll talk about that a lot, the shortstop today is D. Gordon. We'll be back with the ball game right after this. Prime Ticket is brought to you by Hyundai. People are talking about Hyundai Uncensored. See what they're saying at mysocalhyundai.com. By Shakey's, where you can get your PCM on. Text MOJO to 99,000 to win a large PCM. By CarMax. Now more than ever, the smart choice is CarMax. And by AT&T.
Welcome back, everybody. Minutes away from the rubber match between the Dodgers and the D-backs, the finale of this 9-game homestand. And Rafael Furcal has moved on to St. Louis to play with the Cardinals, the only deadline deal that the Dodgers have made, it appears. So now our Hyundai key, Steve, is D. Gordon. because, this is the future. This is what Ned Colletti has said. It's time for him the rest of this year to see if he is indeed the shortstop of the future.
Yeah, he is your shortstop. Coming into spring training next year, it's going to be his job to lose. Here's the things that I see. We've seen him play before. He's a very exciting player, but right now he can barely hit the ball out of the infield. When he went back down to AAA again, he had outstanding numbers. He hit 375 in the month of July, 333 overall. When you look at any kind of power numbers, he had 10 doubles, 6 triples. The triples are because he can absolutely fly. You hit a dunker down the line, he can get a triple out of it. This is what you got to do with him. He's a big leaguer now. You got to treat him like one. You get him in an off-season weight program. You get him to eat about 6 huge meals a day. You put some muscle and weight on him so that he can stroke the ball instead of just flipping at it. He's done okay doing that, but you need him to drive the ball in the gap so he can run.
Well, he's hitting 8th today, but, when he was up here the first time, he certainly provided some highlights as a fan favorite. Hopefully we see more of the same.
Ticket is brought to you by Jack in the Box. For a limited time, Jack's really big chicken sandwich combo is back for only $3.99 plus tax at participating restaurants. And by your Southern California Ford dealers. Visit us today and trade up to Ford. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Sunday to you, wherever you may be. It's slightly overcast, slightly on the humid side, but it's also the very end of the month of July. Although a little rain this morning was certainly welcome. You wish it would answer the prayers of everybody in Texas. Hopefully they've had a drought down there that would someday come to an end. So we're doing pretty well. And for the folks here in the ballpark, they don't have to worry about the blistering sun. And for the Arizona Diamondbacks, they have to worry about the Dodgers and the Giants. The Dodgers have beaten them 3 of 8, and the Giants are 3 games in front of them. The D-backs have been busy. As we will look at Kirk Gibson's lineup card, there's also a couple of changes in the organization. Willie Bloomquist opens up at short, Kelly Johnson at second, Justin Upton in right, and Miguel Montero behind the plate. Xavier Nady is playing first base. Brandon Allen, who played first base last night, along with a reliever, Jordan Norbert, went to the Oakland A's. And the Diamondbacks have picked up a good right-handed reliever, Brad Ziegler, from Oakland. Moving on, Ryan Roberts at third, Gerardo Parra in left. Colin Caldwell will be in center field, giving Chris Young a time off. And the left-hander, Joe Saunders, on the mound. On the mound for the Dodgers and wearing number 41. That is the right-hander, Ruby De La Rosa. He was wearing 50. He had the opportunity to wear 41. That's a number that he wore in the minor leagues. And so the Dodgers are very happy to oblige him. And we'll see how well he goes with the new number. His numbers, 4 wins and 4 losses. He is 1-3 at home, is Ruby, with an ERA over 4. On the road, he has 2 wins and 1 loss and a solid earned run average of 2.8. So we'll see if he pitches like he's on the road or at home. And to test him, Willie Bloomquist, followed by Kelly Johnson, and then Justin Upton. Bloomquist, right-hand hitter, batting .281, and the shortstop backs off and takes a strike, and the count 0-1. Couple of notes on another transaction that took place. The Atlanta Braves got center fielder Michael Bourne from Houston. Meanwhile, there's a line drive base hit into right center. Ethier deep to cut it off. Bloomquist will hold on with a long single. So an opening act base hit. Last night, the D-backs had 2 hits in the first inning but came up empty. And now they have a leadoff single by Bloomquist. And the batter will be Kelly Johnson, the left-hand batter. Michael Bourne, who is a fine player, leaves Houston and goes to Atlanta. There was a report, they were talking about the new Houston owner, and they were saying he has a scorched earth policy, meaning he wanted to get rid of a lot of high-priced players and start all over again with prospects. He got off with Hunter Pence to Philadelphia, Michael Bourne to Atlanta. He was trying to deal left-hander Wandy Rodriguez to the Yankees, but the Yankees balked at the number. The pitch to Kelly Johnson outside, ball 1. Wandy Rodriguez is owed $39 million by the Houston Astros, so they were trying to unload a good part of that on the Yankees, and the Yankees did not want to carry that much debt. So Wandy Rodriguez stays with Houston. Here's the 1-0 pitch on the way to Johnson. There goes the run of Bloomquist. High throw, tumbling tag by D. Gordon to get him. So Gordon, who just came back, electrifies the crowd with a marvelous over-the-head rolling tag. Just did get a piece of Bloomquist. The throw a little offline, and he came down, hit him on the hip before Bloomquist could get his hand on the bag. So D. Gordon, who is so flashy, so electrifying, and on the first real play of the game, you know he's in town as the play goes 2-6. So Bloomquist is shot down. Gordon taking over for Rafael Furcal. And Willie Bloomquist, sadder and a little wiser, back in the dugout. Kelly Johnson up there with a 1-2 count. And Ruby De La Rosa delivers, and that's fouled away. We were talking about deals. Another deal, Mike Adams from the San Diego Padres, a mainstay of their bullpen. He was traded to the Texas Rangers. Here's the 1-2 pitch on the way. Johnson takes low, 2-2. Everyone expected that San Diego would trade Heath Bell, who's at the top of his game. But apparently, and we're only guessing, perhaps San Diego wanted too much, so they settled for trading Mike Adams. Kelly Johnson fouls it away. Ryan Ludwig started, I believe, at least he was in the lineup for San Diego. And just under the wire, the Pirates got Ryan Ludwig. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and that's inside, ball 3. For the Pirates, a little bit of a surprise. The article says they snuck around Cleveland minutes before the deadline and got Ryan Ludwig. So Pittsburgh got Derek Lee and now Ryan Ludwig to add to their team. 3-2 pitch is hit down the left field line, just fair, going into the corner. Johnson is way in second base. The throw not nearly in time. So that was a big play to nail Willie Bloomquist, because Kelly Johnson then follows with a double to left. And that'll bring up Justin Upton. 82 degrees on this overcast, humid day, with the prospects of a little shower. I think I was listening to the weatherman saying that in the mountains and desert they might get some showers around 3-4 o'clock. So one away, a runner at second base, and here is Upton, who has an 11-game hitting streak and a 10-game streak of consecutive extra base hits. He's had one extra base hit in 10 straight games, and last night his double sank the ship as far as the Dodgers are concerned. Justin looks at a strike, and the count 0-1. Upton singled and had the big double last night, went 2 for 4. So one of the finest young players in the game was just 1 for 22 against the Dodgers when the series started. But he had a home run in game 1, 2 big hits, especially the double last night. The strike 1 pitch on the way. De La Rosa delivers, fastball foul back, and the count 0-2. Another note, Ubaldo Jimenez had to take a physical in order to complete the deal with Cleveland. He passed the physical, so Ubaldo Jimenez went from Colorado to Cleveland. No balls and 2 strikes the count to Justin Upton. We're in the first inning, no score. And to repeat the thought, Rafael Furcal, as you may or may not know, said yes to the deal. He packed up last night. He was gone by the 4th inning and will be on his way to St. Louis shortly, I'm sure. The strike 2 pitch on the way. De La Rosa delivers very high. The Dodgers picked up an outfielder, 24 years old. His name is Alex Castellanos. He was doing very well in Double-A. He was in the Texas League All-Star game after hitting .308. But he is 24 and in Double-A, so maybe a ways before he gets here. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Justin Upton. De La Rosa deals, slider away, and the count 2-2. Final score, the Cincinnati Reds knocked off the Giants again, 9-0. Johnny Cueto pitched a 3-hit shutout. Carlos Beltran had 1 hit, but Beltran is now 2 for 17 as a Giant. Barry Zito took the loss again. 2-2 the count, so the Diamondbacks spurred to win another one and get to within 2. De La Rosa ready in the 2-2. Fastball line drive off the glove of De La Rosa. Over to pick it up at second base and make the play is Carroll. So Justin Upton losing a base hit on a bullet that was slowed down by De La Rosa. Fine backup play by Jamie Carroll. De La Rosa gets an assist, and the play goes 1-4-3 with Johnson holding at second base. So it's not as if De La Rosa has fooled anybody. Bloomquist single to right center, out trying to steal. Johnson doubles to left, and then Upton almost takes the left hand of pitcher Ruby De La Rosa. And here is Miguel Montero hitting .276, 12 home runs, 54 runs batted in. De La Rosa set, ready, and deals, and it swung on and fouled away. 0-1 the count to Montero, the all-star catcher representing Arizona. Montero 0 for 4. 0 for 4 in the series, 3 for 15 on the road trip. Last night he made 5 plate appearances. He did draw a walk, but that's all. He also hit into a double play. Montero, for almost a month hitting on the road, is hitting over 300. Strike 1 pitch on the way is swung on and missed, and the count 0-2. Earlier this year, Montero had an 8-game hitting streak. So Miguel backs out for the moment. 0-2 with 2 down. First inning, no score. Followed by a double, and the double followed by a shot off the glove and an out of De La Rosa. So Ruby trying to get an out on his own and works high and away. 1-2 the count. Dodgers, after this game, finishing up the homestand, will go on a brief road trip to San Diego and Arizona. Clayton Kershaw will open up tomorrow night against Corey Lutke on Prime Ticket. Here's the 1-2 pitch coming up. De La Rosa ready, checking Johnson, back to Montero, and Miguel fouls it away. Montero, the regular, the veteran, a good catcher, calls a very good game, and he'll be calling the pitches, handling the left-handed Joe Saunders. The Dodgers are a break-even 7-7 against left-handers at home. Montero, 28 years old, from Caracas, Venezuela. He's been dangerous with a runner at second base. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Montero, very high. In fact, he is 7th highest in the league. So Miguel back up and waiting. 2-2 the count. De La Rosa, right foot on the rubber, looks down to get a sign from Diana Navarro. Now he's ready. And the 2-2 pitch coming up to Montero. Ruby ready. Johnson going to third as Montero strikes out. So Kelly trying to steal third, but Montero fails to make contact. No runs, 2 hits, a man left. Thanks to Gordon, no score. Circus tag, and we go to the bottom of the first inning, no score. Dodger lineup goes this way. Tony Gwynn in left, Aaron Miles at third, Andre Ethier followed by Matt Kemp. Juan Rivera is playing first. Diana Navarro behind the plate, Jamie Carroll at second base, D. Gordon at short, and Ruby De La Rosa on the mound. On the mound for Arizona, the left-handed Joe Saunders. A couple of things about him. He's had 4 tough losses where he's allowed 3 runs or less. He also has lost 3 times when he left the game and was in position to get a win, and the bullpen let it get away. He ranks 9th in the league in quality starts. He also doesn't get very many runs. He is very good at getting the double play. He throws a lot of sinkers. They've turned 16 double plays back of him, but he's very vulnerable to the home run. He has given up 19 home runs, 15 to right-hand batters, and 11 on the road. And with all of that, he makes his first pitch to Tony Gwynn and gets it for a strike. Tony just coming into his own, now hitting .263 with 14 runs batted in. Takes a fastball low and inside, and that balances the count. 1 ball and 1 strike to count to Tony Gwynn. Gwynn in the month of July is hitting .310. He swings, slaps a little flare, foul over third. A backhanded effort by Roberts, no catch. and Ryan bangs into the little fence, the screened fence, before slowly getting back up. A great all-out effort by Ryan Roberts trying to backhand that little foul ball. He went into a slide, and his right shoulder hit the supporting part of the fence, and Ryan goes back to his position. He hit it hard enough to knock off a tattoo. 1-2 the count to Tony Gwynn. Joe Saunders from the third base side of the rubber, and a breaking ball down and away. 2-2 the count to Tony Gwynn. Tony, in the last 2 months, will be quite a challenge for Saunders. Joe with a record of 7-8. 0-2 against the Dodgers this year. He works it just on the outside corner. Call strike 3. So Tony Gwynn, who hit .309 in June and .310 in July, called out on strikes. And we have one out, and the batter will be Aaron Miles. Miles, the switch hitter, will go right-handed, and well, he should. He's hitting .355 against left-hand pitching. And against this particular left-hander, he's 2 for 4 and takes a strike. 0-1. One out, bottom of the first inning, no score. Now the strike one pitch on the way. Left-hander delivers a hopper to Roberts. Ryan plenty of time to throw him out. 2 down in the first inning, and Andre Ethier coming up, where Aaron Miles is able to switch and hit very well against left-handers. Ethier, as you probably know, has been struggling against left-handers, hitting only .230. Andre, however, does have a home run against Saunders and is hitting .313 against him. On deck, Matt Kemp. So 2 out, first inning, no score. A warm, humid day here in Los Angeles. Sounds strange to say at the end of July. A threat of showers. We had some rain this morning. And the pitch to Andre is low, ball 1, 1-0. No runs, 2 hits for the D-backs. Bloomquist singled and was out trying to steal only because of a tremendous tag by D. Gordon. Ethier, meanwhile, a line drive single to center. And now Saunders has to face Matt Kemp with 2 out in the first inning and no score. Matt Kemp last night put on a show as usual. He had a single and a stolen base. He had a 2-run home run. He has 26 home runs, 82 runs batted in, and for good measure, he has stolen 28 out of 31. How has he done against Saunders? He has 2 home runs against Joe. 2 of his 5 hits have gone the distance. So Kemp checks in. Hitting back of him is Juan Rivera. The left-hander set. Joe looks at first, comes to the plate, away, ball 1, 1-0. Matt out of the box for the moment. Now they hook up again. 1 ball and no strikes. Saunders has a good move to first base. Left-handed deals, and that's a strike. And a 1 ball, 1 strike count. To break down Joe Saunders' record, he is 7-8. He is 2-4 at home with an earned run average over 4.5. He's 5-4 away with an earned run average of under 3. Now the 1-1 pitch. Kemp swings, bangs it into right center. That's a base hit. Cowgill over to cut it off. Ethier going to third will hold on a very long single by Matt Kemp. Boy, that was a good play by the center fielder Colin Cowgill to cut that ball so deep in right center field. And with the speed that Matt Kemp has, if there was the slightest delay or trouble, he has a double. But Cowgill racing over, cut it off. He's left-handed, which meant he could get the throw back in quickly. He was going to his left. So just like that, the Dodgers have runners at first and third with 2 out, and Juan Rivera checking in. Rivera 2 for 3 with a home run against Saunders. So Joe's in the deep waters here. First and third, 2 out, no score, first inning. And the first pitch is lifted into shallow center. Going out is Bloomquist and makes the catch for the out. So Rivera pops it up. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. And at the end of an inning, no score. Pitches, gives up 2 hits and gets away with it, just as Ruby De La Rosa did, giving up a double and a single. So we go to the second inning, no score. The Dodgers have just made what you would call a minor league trade. They did not involve major league players, and it had to do with the Boston Red Sox, of all people, as Xavier Nady checks in. De La Rosa ready, and the first pitch to Xavier in for a strike. The Dodgers wind up sending young outfielder Trayvon Robinson to Boston, and in return they receive a catcher, Tim Federowicz. The next pitch is lifted off first down the line, peeling foul and going back into the crowd. Federowicz out of North Carolina from Apex. He was in the Eastern League with Portland, hit .275, has 7 home runs, 50 runs batted in. Thank goodness he does have a nickname. His name is Federowicz, but they call him FedEx. So we hope he gets up. That balances the commercial. 0-2 the count, and the pitch of the plate. Ground ball to the right side hard. Carroll is on it to throw him out. So Nady goes the other way, 1 down. And the batter now, Ryan Roberts. Dodgers also, besides catcher Tim Federowicz, they got a pitcher, Stephen Fife, and a pitcher, Juan Rodriguez. Ned Colletti will no doubt talk a little bit more about that deal as Trayvon Robinson moves to the Red Sox, or at least to their organization. Ryan Roberts, 14 home runs, 42 runs batted in, lays off a pitch low, 1 ball and no strikes. Roberts last night had 2 hits and a walk, scored a run, and in the game before had a home run and a single. So he's trouble. He hits 1 foul off to the right, out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. This is the 9th meeting, 9 of the 18, the halfway point for the 2 clubs. The D-backs have won 5 of 8, and the Dodgers will be in Arizona next weekend before coming home. 1-1 fastball is low, ball 2. By the way, when the Dodgers come home, the first 3 games of the homestand will be against the Philadelphia Phillies, and we'll see that magnificent starting lineup along with the newcomer Hunter Pence. 2-1 pitch is low, ball 3. And the fellow who usually makes Philadelphia click. They were off to a slow start without him, but he's back in the lineup and they are clicking. and that would be Chase Utley. 3-1 the count to Ryan Roberts. Ruby into his windup. The 3-1 pitch swung on and fouled away, and the count 3-2. Well, Ruby wanted 41 because that was the number that he wore in the minor leagues. I'm sure he has no idea how famous that 41 was in the 50s, worn by a reliever by the name of Clem Labine. 3-2 pitch on the way, fouled upstairs. Fastball alley. Still 3-2. Clem Labine with a great sinker, was a magnificent reliever, and in game 2 of the playoffs against the Giants, the series that eventually produced Robbie Thompson's famous home run, but Labine shut out the Giants the day before. 3-2 pitch swung on, another foul ball out of play. No score, top of the second inning. Joe Saunders got away with it in the first inning because in looking up, he's had a lot of trouble in the first inning. Gave up 2 hits, but got out of it unscathed. 3-2 pitch coming up. Roberts hits a high fly ball to deep left field down the line. She is gone. Home run for Ryan Roberts, his second of the series. It also gives Roberts 15 home runs, 43 runs batted in. For Ruby De La Rosa to surrender a home run, that would be the 5th that he's allowed. So the D-backs are on the board, leading 1-0, knowing full well the Giants have already lost 9-0. So Roberts comes around, 1-0 Arizona, and here's Gerardo Parra. That at bat was an 8-pitch at bat for Ryan Roberts. He fouled off 4 before he hits it out, and the first pitch to Gerardo Parra blowing away, ball 1, 1-0. So Ryan Roberts hits his 15th, and Arizona in front. Parra tries to bunt, fouls it away, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count. For Arizona as a team, they have now hit 123 home runs compared to the Dodgers 71. That's 50 more. Here's the 1-1 pitch. High fly ball into deep center. Back goes Campa way back, and that one is gone. So back-to-back home runs by Roberts and Parra, and just like that, the D-backs lead 2-0 for Parra, his 6th home run of the year. So for Ruby De La Rosa, he's not quite right. He was fortunate in the first inning. Bloomquist singled, tried to steal second, and D. Gordon made a circus tag, and then Johnson doubled. Though he avoided a run in the first inning, after the double, Upton drilled one off his glove, and Jamie Carroll made a good play, but there's no defense against a home run. So Roberts homers to left, Parra homers just about to center, and it's 2-0 in favor of Arizona. Now at the plate is Colin Cogwell, who came in as a pinch hitter last night, singled in the 8th inning for his first major league hit. So he walks up hitting .083. Big thrill for him last night. Cogwell takes way off the plate to the backstop, 1-1. Back-to-back home runs by Arizona. Maybe it's ho-hum to them. They've got 124 home runs. The Dodgers have not had a back-to-back home run game this year. Here's the 1-1 pitch on the way, and that's low. So for the moment, the heavyweight is leading the middleweight 2-0 in the second inning on home runs by Roberts and Parra. Third time Arizona's had back-to-back compared to the Dodgers' zip. The next pitch missing, 2-2 to Cowgill, and the pitcher Joe Saunders out on deck. De La Rosa looks down to get a sign. Now Ruby is ready, and his 2-2 pitch is down and away. Ball 3, 3-2. De La Rosa has been pitching without showing any victories. He's 0-2 starting the end of June, but his earned run average was 2.1. 3-2 pitch on the way, a slap foul off the plate. Cowgill may or may not have chased ball 4, but it was too close for comfort, so he had to go after it. For De La Rosa, you get a fastball that's been actually clocked over 100 miles an hour. You get a slider and a changeup, and that's about it. And he comes back with a pitch fouled away. Still 3-2 the count to Colin Cogwell. So De La Rosa roughed up a little bit. Ruby 6-1, only 170 and only 22. And his 3-2 pitch is low and away, ball 4. So Cowgill gets a walk with 1 out. And the pitcher, Joe Saunders, coming up. And the first thought is, will he bunt? Well, Saunders, not much of a hitter. He has 5 hits, however, and he has sacrificed once. So Joe hits as he pitches, left-handed all the way. Saunders might very well be a familiar face. He pitched for the Angels in 2005, 6, 7, 8, and 9 into the 10 season. So Joe waits, shows bunt, pulls the bat back, and the pitch outside, ball 1, 1-0. Joe Saunders, a first-round pick by the Angels back in 2001. He went to school at Virginia Tech. He's from Falls Church, Virginia, but he's moved over to the Phoenix area in Arizona. Throw to first, Cowgill back on the bag. Cowgill is 1 for 1 in stolen bases. Rivera holding a corner on him. 1 out, second inning, 2-0 Arizona on home runs by Ryan Roberts and Gerardo Parra. De La Rosa has not been fooling people, trying to take advantage of the pitcher with 1 out. Another throw to first, and again, Cowgill back. Aaron Miles well in on the grass looking bunt, and Rivera ready to push off the bag. De La Rosa out of a stretch. Saunders shows bunt now, and the pitch to him is bunted in the air, foul, and drops untouched. Miles unable to catch up to it. 1 ball and 1 strike to Joe Saunders. Dodgers heading for San Diego, where the San Diego bullpen is minus Mike Adams, who went to Texas. It is still occupied by Heath Bell. That might be a great surprise. And outfielder Ryan Ludwig has moved on to Pittsburgh. Here's the 1-1 pitch, runner going. The pitch is high, the throw is high, the tag is in time. Watching Chad Fairchild, who is very cautious and deliberate before he makes the call. So Cowgill is shot down. So as far as Deona Navarro is concerned, he's 2 for 2. One of them a remarkable tag by D. Gordon. That throw a little high, but it was there in plenty of time. So Saunders, with the bunt off, takes the strike, and the count 2-2. Arizona 2, Dodgers nothing. Second inning, fastball is just waved at and missed, and that's it. Home runs, Roberts and Parra. Nobody left, and at the end of an inning and a half, Diamondbacks 2, Dodgers nothing. Ryan Roberts and Gerardo Parra give Arizona a 2-0 lead. And for Ruby De La Rosa, the day has really started off as quite a struggle. He's made 48 pitches in 2 innings. And what is really key, so far, Arizona has swung and missed at a pitch only 3 times. There have been 15 foul balls. So as a power pitcher who's been clocked as high as 102 on the speed gun, that ball isn't quite moving, and he's given up 4 hits, but only the 2 runs. Meanwhile, talking about 2, the Rockies lead the Padres 2-0, top of the 3rd inning. Ryan Ludwig was in the dugout shaking hands, hugging teammates, saying goodbye. He was not in the game. He'll join the Pirates in Pittsburgh. They'll open up tomorrow night with the Cubs. Now the first pitch coming up to Diana Navarro. That's in for a strike. Switch hitting catcher, hitting 197 overall. Diana hitting 167 right-handed. Saunders back, drops a pitch inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Light breeze blowing to right to the comfort of the folks in the right field pavilion. And the 1-1 pitch on the way. Breaking ball down at Navarro's feet. 2 balls and 1 strike. Saunders has had a lot of trouble against the Western Division. He is 2-5 against the West. That's bad news for Arizona. 2-1 pitch, fastball fouled away. Still 2-2. We mentioned earlier that he was fortunate to get through the first inning. That has been pretty much of a nightmare for him. Working now in the 2nd inning against Diana Navarro, and the pitch fouled away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. You know what the league was hitting against Saunders in the first inning? 571, and the Dodgers had 2 base hits in the first inning to balloon it even more, but he didn't give up a run, and he misses inside trying to get the corner. 3-2 the count to Navarro. Saunders ready, comes back 3-2, and it's popped in the air, foul off to the right and out of play. Still 3-2. Saunders a master at coming up with a double play, which means he has to pitch out of a jam a lot. But since 2008, his infield, whether it's with the Angels or with the D-backs, have turned 94 double plays. 3-2 pitch is popped in the air to left side. Ryan Roberts, sunglasses glistening, and makes the catch for the out. Say a reminder, August 14th, 110, all children 14 and under in attendance receive their own Dodger backpack, compliments of Sports Authority. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotion. And I'm not going to talk about the backpack and what you might think. Let's think it'd be very handy for picnics, going to the beach, swimming. Yeah, I know. It's just around the corner, isn't it? Wow. 1 away, and here's Jamie Carroll hitting 294. And the fastball high, ball 1, 1-0. Smells bring back memories, aromas, whatever you want to call it. Remember that first day in school when they opened up the classroom? It's been closed all summer. Pitch fouled away, 1-1. There was a definite smell of chalk and dust and stale air, but it was special. And I was thinking this morning when it rained, I hope it rained in your area, even for a few minutes. And when the rain hit the concrete, the steam that came up, I immediately thought of a little kid in the streets of New York. There's a certain smell about that. Meanwhile, Jamie Carroll with a 2-ball and 1 strike count, and the D-backs lead 2-0 in the 2nd inning. And the pitch to Jamie fouled away on his foot. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dodgers 1 game under 500 against left-handers. 13 wins, 14 losses, but dead even at home, 7-7. A lot of players moving around the country today. The deadline was 1 p.m. coast time. 2-2 pitch fouled away down the line. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Joe Saunders trying to balance his books. He is 7-8. 0-2 against the Dodgers and 1-4 against them. He comes back 2-2 and misses inside. Way back in May, Joe went 6 2/3, gave up 3 earned runs and lost 4-3. The middle of July, he gave up 3 earned runs and lost 6-4. Well, he hadn't pitched that badly at all, as Carroll swings and misses, and down he goes. For Jamie to strike out, kind of news. He has only struck out 38 times all year. Strikeout number 2 for Joe Saunders. And that'll bring up D. Gordon. Gordon, in the brief time that he was here, hit in the 230s. Left-hand hitting shortstop. Saunders ready. Fastball on the hands for a strike. And the count 0-1. So young D back for a second shot at short. And this one is a big shot with Furcal moving on to St. Louis. Drag bunt, but he hit it very hard and not hesitating. Nady just took it to the bag, and that'll be that. So the Dodgers go 1-2-3, and at the end of 2, D-backs 2, Dodgers nothing. Of Arizona on home runs by Ryan Roberts and Gerardo Parra. Willie Bloomquist will start it off, be followed by Kelly Johnson and Justin Upton. Willie's dad, they tell me, a big, strong bear of a man. He was a dentist, and he would go to work, even semi-retired, about 3 days a month. Oh boy, one of his last days, you'll love this, as Willie backs off and takes a strike. On his last day at work, his father performed more than a dozen root canals. Oh, never mind. Sorry I brought it up. 0-1 to count to Willie Bloomquist. He takes in the dirt, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Willie singled to right field in the first inning. He was thrown out only because of a rather remarkable tag by D. Gordon. On a high throw, Gordon just about did a somersault and was able to nail Willie, and it was important. The next pitch to him is low, ball 2, because the following hitter, Kelly Johnson, promptly doubled down the left field line. That would have been a run. And then add the 2 home runs in the second, it'd be a little bit worse than it is. So it's 2-0 D-backs, third inning, and the 2-1 pitch in there, 2-2. Willie Bloomquist out of Bremerton, Washington, went to school at Arizona State. Willie caught stealing for the 4th time, only because of that tag by Gordon. And the 2-2 pitch on the way. He takes high, ball 3. Bloomquist has certainly done very well, taking over for Stephen Drew. Drew broke his ankle. He's finished for the year. And here's Willie hitting .284, 3 home runs, 14 runs batted in. He'll be 34 in November. Hits a little ground ball to Carroll. Jamie picks it up, and that's that. 1 away. Now the batter will be Kelly Johnson, who doubled the left in the 1st inning. Kelly Johnson, first thing that jumps out at you, the fact he's only hitting .220. Then you realize he's an extra base hitting guy. He has 20 doubles, 4 triples, and 17 home runs. Fouls the pitch away. Because he does have power, he also pays the price, and he leads Arizona in strikeouts with 112. And there isn't anybody even close to him. The pitch is low and inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. For years, Arizona had a ball club that was right up at the top in striking out. And one of the big changes with the Arizona Diamondbacks this year, they just don't strike out as much. Here's the 1-1 pitch, swung on and missed. Last year, Arizona led the major leagues. You take all their plate appearances, and they struck out 25% of the time. I mean, that's overwhelming. Remember when Mark Reynolds played 3rd? Here's the 1-2 pitch, and that's low. 2-2. Not to single out Reynolds, but he was outrageous in striking out, and he's now with Baltimore. 2-2 the count to Kelly Johnson. 1 out, 3rd inning. D-backs 2, Dodgers nothing. De La Rosa into his windup. Young right-hander ready. Johnson swings and misses and makes the long walk back. 113 times he has struck out. For De La Rosa, that would be his 3rd strikeout. And the batter now, Justin Upton. Justin Upton slammed one, a line drive off the glove of Ruby De La Rosa. He slowed it down, and Jamie Carroll went behind second base to throw out Upton. Otherwise, ball goes through. Kelly Johnson would have scored. So Upton with an 11-game hitting streak, and he takes in the dirt. 1 ball and no strikes for Justin. The other night, he had a bad time on a long fly ball hit by Tony Gwynn. It was ruled an error. The official scorer had a change of mind as well as a change of heart and has ruled it a triple. Justin swings and misses. Though we were saying all the official scorer had to do was look in the dugout and watch Justin Upton try to rearrange the furniture, and you knew he felt he had made a bad play and should have caught the ball. The 1-1 pitch on the way, and Upton takes high. So Justin Upton, he's not 24 yet. He'll be 24 the 25th of August. So these two fellas figure with their talent to face each other for years and years to come. De La Rosa ready, and Ruby's 2-1 pitch. Fastball in there. He hit 97. Boy, you should have seen the home run that Justin Upton hit in San Diego. We showed it once during the series. I mean, he hit the top floor of the building in left field. That is really hard to believe. Here's the 2-2 pitch on the way. Upton swings, fouls it off. Of course, Petco Park is always known as a pitcher's park. And in talking about it, we can show you on television where the ball lands on the Western Metal Supply Company upstairs, top deck. Hard to believe. And then we showed it. He promptly hit a home run over the center field fence here. So Upton waiting, and the pitch, slider down and away, ball 3, 3-2. There are only 3 visiting players that can tell the grandkids they hit 2 home runs in a game twice. Raul Ibanez, Adam LaRoche, and Justin Upton, the only ones to do it at Petco. Of course, Petco is not a very old ballpark. It opened up in '06. Upton pulls another one foul. Adrian Gonzalez, who has moved on to Fenway, did it 4 times in San Diego as a Padre. Nobody else has done it more than twice. So 3-2 the count to Justin Upton. Upton has struck out 82 times. De La Rosa ready, and Ruby's 3-2 pitch on the way is taken low, ball 4. So a 2-out walk to Justin Upton will bring up Miguel Montero. Normally, it would bring up maybe somebody like Chris Young. Young struggled last night. He went 1 for 5 with a single and 0 for 3 the game before. So Chris sitting in the dugout, just 1 for 8 and kind of cools off. There's Miguel Montero with Upton at first. Upton, by the way, has stolen 16 bases, and De La Rosa is certainly going to keep an eye on him. So far, the best throws, the best stuff in the game have come from Deona Navarro, who threw out Bloomquist in the first inning and nailed Cowgill in the second. He's had a good fastball today. De La Rosa, another throw to first. That a little bit closer. Eric Young, one of the great base stealers of all time, coaching at first. And Matt Williams, one of the better third basemen that ever played the game, over at third. De La Rosa ready, watching. Upton comes back high and away to Montero. Miguel struck out in the first inning, 0 for 1. 2 runs, 4 hits for Arizona. No runs, 2 hits for the Dodgers. Montero has hit safely in 17 of 26 road games, and he takes way off the plate and low. 2 balls and no strike. He's hit safely in 9 of his last 14, hitting over 300. So he's a factor, and he's hitting cleanup. He has 12 home runs, 54 runs batted in. 2-0 pitch on the way. De La Rosa deals way outside. Ball 3. Navarro straightens up and walks the ball out in front of the plate, and now he'll get a new ball to throw. The feel of a baseball. It's remarkable to a major league pitcher. They are so sensitive. I remember Claude Osteen could reach into a bag of baseballs and he would feel around and he'd say, this one's smaller. And they'd measure it, and it would actually be maybe only a millimeter smaller, but he was right. 3-0 pitch, and Montero green lights and comes up empty. So he swung from the heel, and we have a 3-1 count. 2-0 D-backs in the third. De La Rosa looks down, getting a sign. Upton off the bag at first. 3-1, he's not going, and Montero takes way off the plate. Ball 4. So right now, Ruby De La Rosa is struggling, hoping he will settle in, find his rhythm. But it has been a very bumpy ride, and here comes Rick Honeycutt out to try and help him recover his ability. He gave up single and a double in the first inning, but got away with it. He gave up 2 home runs and a walk in the second inning, and he's given up back-to-back walks here in the third. So De La Rosa with 3 strikeouts, but he has also walked 3. 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors for Arizona. No runs, 2 hits, and no errors for the Dodgers. Overcast, humid day, light breeze blowing from left to right. Xavier Nady grounded out to Jamie Carroll in the second inning. Nady is hitting .260, 4 home runs, 34 runs batted in. Appeared as a pinch hitter last night. Had a long fly ball to right field to drive in a run. Started the game before, went 1 for 4 with a double to drive in a run. Nady, right-hand hitter, went to UFC up in Berkeley. De La Rosa ready, and here he comes. Xavier swings and doesn't get it, and the count 0-1. Nady has only struck out 44 times. Of course, he hadn't been in a lot of games. Pretty much figures to be a fixture at first base now that Brandon Allen is gone. Brandon Allen was traded away to Oakland for reliever Brad Ziegler. Strike one pitch on the way to Xavier Nady, and it swung on and fouled away. 0-2 the count. So Ruby De La Rosa with 2 out, trying to fight his way out of the corner, making a lot of pitches. This will be his 27th pitch of this inning. Nady waiting, a veteran, 32, will be 33 in November. And the strike 2 pitch to Xavier. He takes high, ball 1. Nady, among other things, has 5 RBIs coming off the bench as a pinch hitter. He's from the lettuce capital of the world, Salinas. He was born in Carmel. 1-2. 2 on, 2 out. The pitch to Nady is swung on and fouled away. You watch Upton down there at second base. Miles has to play deep with a right-hand batter at the plate. And so the door is open if Upton is thinking about stealing third base. Ryan Roberts has stolen third a couple of times for Arizona. Another look back by De La Rosa at Upton. The 1-2 pitch coming up, and Nagy takes high and away. Ball 2, 2-2. Arizona this year, another reason why they're a much better club. They're scoring about 8-10% more with 2 out than they were last year. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. So the deuce is wild with 2 on. And Arizona leading 2-0. De La Rosa hanging around trying to get better, and the D-backs trying to polish him off. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Instead, Navarro's going out there. Perhaps they were not on the same page. Deanna wanted one pitch and Ruby wanted another. It's the old story, and I'm sure it's with just about every team. It's always been with the Dodgers. The catcher suggests. He does not call for the pitch. He suggests. It is the pitcher's game. All right, De La Rosa, long look. That's another reason Navarro went out there. Why didn't they agree immediately with the pitch? Here's the 2-2 pitch, swung on and fouled back. You know, it's not too hard to say, okay, what do you want to throw? Okay, we'll throw it. And then you come back and you call it. Each time Navarro kind of peeking over towards the Dodger dugout. I don't believe anybody in the dugout is calling the pitches. All right, Ruby's ready. Checks the runners again. And the 2-2 pitch is swung on and missed. Nady checking with the umpire. Did I swing at strike 3? The answer is yes. No runs, no hits, 2 left at the end of 2.5, 2-0 Arizona. favor of Arizona. Ruby De La Rosa, followed by Tony Gwynn and Aaron Miles. Home runs by Ryan Roberts and Gerardo Parra account for the score. Roberts hit a 3-2 pitch for a home run. Parra hit a 1-1 pitch. And now it's De La Rosa's turn to swing the bat. And a big swing and a miss, 0-1. De La Rosa has 3 hits. He has had about 15 plate appearances. He has struck out just once. Lines one foul down the line. And the count 0-2 to Ruby. The strike 2 pitch on the way. De La Rosa fouls that off, so he is certainly up there hacking. No balls and 2 strikes. Ruby hits as he pitches, right-handed. Saunders back with a curveball, lifted to shallow left field, and Parra comes in and makes the catch. 1 away. You know, Tuesday, August 9th is Duke Snider bobblehead night presented by State Farm. Dodgers celebrate the life of the Hall of Famer. Dodgers face the Phillies at 7:10. To take home your own mini Duke of Flatbush, visit Dodger.com/promotions. So 1 away, and here's Tony Gwynn, struck out in the first inning. Tony hitting .262, but he's hit .300 in June and .300 in July. So like his dad, left-hand hitter, and he takes high, ball 1, 1-0. You know, Tony is like a different player since he left San Diego, and it might very well be for a big reason. The 1-0 pitch in there, 1-1. There has to be a lot of pressure playing in the shadow of your father, who was not only a great player, but was there almost every day and night, broadcasting a lot of the games. 1-1 pitch on the way. Tony takes at the knuckles, ball 2. Also, I mean, you come to the ballpark to play, and there's a huge statue of your dad. You don't think that puts a little extra pressure on you? The 2-1 pitch to Tony, a little roller to the right side. Johnson is on it and takes care of him. So maybe we're right. Certainly it's a reasonable guess that he is starting to grow now that he is out from under his dad's shadow. And we have 2 down in the third. Aaron Miles coming up. He grounded to third in the first inning. Aaron 0 for 1. Left-hander Joe Saunders trying to beat the Dodgers, but more importantly for Arizona, they're trying to chop a game off the Giants' lead. The pitch to Miles outside, ball 1. Giants were ripped today. Cincinnati beat them 9-0. Johnny Cueto shut him out. The next pitch in for a strike, 1-1. And also, there would have to be some pressure, talking about that with Tony Gwynn, pressure on Carlos Beltran. I mean, they're looking to him, and he's had 1 hit since he joined the Giants from the Mets. He was something like 1 for 14. Now he's 2 for 17. Here's the 1-2 pitch on the way. Miles takes in the dirt, kicks way over to the Diamondback dugout. 2-2 the count. Joe trying to balance his books. He is 7-8. Now the 2-2 pitch on the way. Fastball, big chopper to third. Short hop by Ryan Roberts. High throw, and of course that's safe as Miles. So Ryan Roberts made a wonderful running short hop, but so often when you throw on the run, you release the ball early. And he released it early, threw it high. Nady, who's a big man, had to go up the ladder. By the time he came down, he missed the bag, and he couldn't make the tag on Miles. So that almost went into the seats, and Miles safely aboard. It'll be a throwing error charge to Ryan Roberts. That's a big break for the Dodgers. It'll bring up Andre Ethier, who singled sharply to center in the first inning. So we'll see what the Dodgers can do with this extra at bat. Andre having a big series, 5 for 9 and 1 for 1 today, and takes ball 1. For Ryan Roberts, who homered, that would be his 8th error at third base. 2-0 D-backs, 2 out. Miles at first, bottom of the third. 1-0 pitch to Ethier, a drive to center. Coming up in a hurry to play it on a bounce is Cowgill, and that means Matt Kemp is coming up with 2 on and 2 out. So that error by Roberts could really be a killer. So Roberts with his head down, walking deep at third. Joe Saunders, I'm sure, is thinking about it. All part of the game. And here comes Matt. He singled sharply to deep right center. It was a wonderful defensive play by Colin Cowgill to hold it to a single. So here's Matt hitting .317, 26 home runs, 82 runs batted in, 28 stolen bases. And Saunders looks in, getting ready to pitch to him. The left-hander checks the runners, comes to Kemp, low and inside, ball 1. Saunders and Kemp. Matt is 6 for 20, including 2 home runs against Saunders. 6 for 20 would be halved, 3 for 10, so Matt's hitting .300 against a left-hander. The 1-0 pitch, fastball in there. 1-1 the count. Rivera on deck popped up in the first inning. D-backs got home runs in the second inning by Roberts and Parra. Dodgers get a big break on the throwing error by Roberts with 2 out. Ethier singles, and Kemp now a big chance to get the Dodgers on the scoreboard. The 1-1 pitch on the way. Left-hander deals, and a high fly ball, but very playable. Gerardo Parra is there to make the catch. Kemp didn't get enough of it. No runs, 1 hit, an error, 2 left. The sigh of relief you hear is from Ryan Roberts, and it's 2-0 Diamondbacks. Local Mazda dealer. 2-0 Arizona. Pretty easy to explain why. In the second inning, a 3-ball, 2-strike count to Ryan Roberts, the Arizona third baseman. He got a fastball and he hit it out. Then that brought up Gerardo Parra on a 1-1 pitch. He muscled one into the chairs in center field. So it's 2-0 Arizona in the fourth. And here's Roberts. Right. Ryan Roberts hitting .255, 15 home runs, 43 runs batted in. 0-2. One of the things that has bothered De La Rosa the fact that there have been 21 foul balls, so he made 79 pitches in 3 innings. One and two. Off the plate. Roberts last year spent most of the time at Reno. Briefly, he had 2 home runs for Arizona. That's foul back. At Syracuse, he had 19 home runs. So he's having a big year with 15 home runs in the big leagues. Roberts is out of Fort Worth, Texas. He'll be 31 in September. Went to school at the University of Texas in Arlington. If he gets at second base anytime, look out. He has stolen third 3 times this year. He's an adventurous base runner. He's about as good as there is going from first to third on singles. That's fouled away. Talking about a foul ball for the hitter, Roberts has shown great improvement in fouling pitches off and getting deep in the count. And here he is now, going all the way 3-2. It's really something when you realize, going back with Roberts, he's dropped his rate of swing and misses by more than half the time. And did that hit him? No, but it's ball 4 anyway. So De La Rosa has now walked 4, struck out 4, given up 2 home runs, and he's only in the 4th inning. And again, he's only 22. Gerardo Parra homered in the 2nd inning. We've watched Parra a lot, and one thing, he's taller than he looks at first glance. And he hits a hopper to Carroll, who boots it, recovers, throws to second for 1, but they lose the double play. So Parra from the Dominican hits into a force play, and that'll bring up Colin Cogwell, the center fielder. Ball was hit hard, and Jamie kept the ball in front and was able to at least get the force play. 37, the veteran, very calmly, not doing anything in a hurry. They always talk about slowing the game down, and the good players somehow can do it. Cowgill walked in the 2nd inning. Ball 1. Colin Cogwell got his first major league hit the other night. It was nice to see the bench. He must have a lot of friends over there. They were all so happy for him. They were all applauding. He had a big grin on his face. He's out of Lexington, Kentucky. Parra runs well. He's stolen 7 out of 8. Cowgill is only 5'9". In the dirt, wild pitch to the backstop, rounding second and keep on going to third is Gerardo Parra. So there's the wildest pitch outside of Barnum and Bailey. And suddenly the D-backs have a runner at third with 1 out. For De La Rosa, that would be his 3rd wild pitch. It's almost like making 2 wild pitches, isn't it? I mean, you figure, okay, you take 1 base on a wild pitch, but when you make 2, that's another story. So Parra at third, 1 out. Cowgill trying to pick him up, and the Dodger infield plays up. Two balls and no strikes. bluffing down the line is power, and the pitch very high. I think Ruby might very well have been distracted. 3-0 the count. Arizona leading 2-0, trying to get another. The 3-0 pitch swung on, flared to center, base hit. So Cowgill is green lighted 3-0, especially with the pitcher hitting back of him, and he cashes in the wild pitch, and the Diamondbacks lead 3-0. The Cowgill's second major league hit, and probably his first run batted in. We will look across. Yep. Second hit, first RBI on a 3-0 pitch. Now Navarro going out to talk again. De La Rosa, let's face it, has been struggling since the anthem. I mean, the notes just faded off in the distance to the mountains, and he was in trouble. He has faced 17 batters so far. He's had 8 3-ball counts. He has walked 4. He's given up 5 hits, including a double and 2 home runs, and he's down 3-0. And facing Saunders, who'll probably try to bunt and sacrifice. Josh Lindblom begins to loosen up in the Dodger bullpen. 3-0 Arizona. Saunders shows bunt, pulls the bat back. Ball 1. So a force play that should have been a double play, and then the wild pitch for 2 bases, and then a 3-0 green light and the base hit by Cowgill, and the D-backs pick up an extra run. They avoided the run when they gave the Dodgers the extra at bat on the error by Ryan Roberts, but when they missed the double play here in the 4th inning, that helped very much. D-backs 3, Dodgers nothing. Joe fouls it away. 1-1. Well, it's going to happen no matter who it is, whether it's a 22-year-old or a 35-year-old. You go out to the mound and you're going to have one of those days. His last game, he went 6 innings and allowed 1 earned run. And he missed the bunt. 1-2 to Joe Saunders. See, if they try to ask him to bunt with 2 strikes, it would not be a surprise. And he fouls it. See you later. So Saunders can't bunt. Strikes out for the 2nd time. 5 strikeouts for Ruby De La Rosa. And the batter now, Willie Bloomquist. Cowgill, who's only played in 4 games, is 1 for 1 with a stolen base. And with the leadoff man up there, there's always a chance with 2 out that Cowgill will go. The worst thing that can happen, you get him for the 3rd out and your leadoff man starts the next inning. So let's see if Kirk tries to run him. They think so, and they're going to keep an eye on him. Of course, Cowgill just called up, so he does not know the moves of the pitchers. De La Rosa ready. And he's after Cowgill again. If nothing else, he knows he's a rookie like himself. He knows if he can just put a shadow of a doubt on Cowgill, take a step away from him, that could be important. Colin tried to reading Ruby. That's a strike. 0-1. Bloomquist single to right, grounded to second, was thrown out trying to steal. He had an infield single and a sacrifice fly to drive in a run last night, and he had a home run and was robbed on a tremendous diving catch by Matt Kemp in the 7th inning of the first game. One and one. Look out towards the mountains today and you can see some of those thunderheads. They say they ought to get some showers in the mountains sometime around 3-4 o'clock. One ball, one strike. Fouled away down the right field line. Dodgers have moved the furniture and they're going to get somebody up now because De La Rosa is laboring, that's for sure. Josh Lindblom has been throwing, then he stops. Young Ruby has now made 100 pitches. His last game he made 111, and he made 100 against the Angels the last week in June. There goes Cowgill. The pitch is a knockdown high, and the base is stolen. And that's pretty well called. You drive the hitter out of there to clear the way for the catcher, but Navarro this time could not get Cowgill. So Diana is 2 for 3, but it wasn't even close. It was close enough to Bloomquist to get him out of there. For Ruby, this is his 4th inning. This will be his 23rd pitch. He's made at least 20 pitches in every inning, including the 3rd inning where he made 31. Ground foul. Still 2-2. De La Rosa is due to bat 5th when the Dodgers come up in the 4th inning. Question if will he survive to get that far? Because Ruby knows about disappointments. He was once sent home to the Dominican because he wasn't pitching well. This time he has enough to strike out Bloomquist. However, a 2-base wild pitch cashed in on a 3-0 single by Cowgill, and we're heading for the bottom of the 4th. 3-0 Arizona. Ticket is brought to you by K-Swiss Tubes, the official shoe of muscles everywhere. By Chase, deposit checks from your smartphone with quick deposit. Take a step forward and chase what matters. And by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Bottom of the 4th inning is 3-0 Arizona. Dodgers trying to get back in the game with Rivera, Navarro, and Carroll. And Joe Saunders trying to get through 5 and maybe pick up a win. Little sunshine trying to burn through the overcast as Rivera takes a strike. When I came out here, I was a kid from New York, and I learned a big difference, the difference between a dead end and a cul-de-sac. Pitch inside, it's a lot of money. But this kind of a day back in New York, you'd say, boy, it's hot. Not here, it's monsoonal. Well, I can tell that to my friends back in New York. What a day. It was monsoonal. That's foul down the line. 1-2 the count. And in New York, when it gets cold, they always blame it on Canada. And here in Los Angeles, if it gets very hot, they blame it on Mexico, of course. Rivera hitting .279. He has a home run, 3 runs batted in. Dodgers shut down so far. We're only in the bottom of the 4th. 2-2. Saunders made only 48 pitches in the first 3 innings. And he runs it all the way now to Rivera. Clayton Kershaw going after his 13th victory tomorrow night against San Diego and Corey Lubke. Big foul ball. Kershaw's 12-4, and his efforts will be on Prime Ticket. Game 2 in San Diego, Hiroki Kuroda against Matt Latos. That'll be on KCAL 9. And then Wednesday's getaway game from San Diego, Ted Lilly and Tim Stauffer. That will be on KCAL 9. 3-2. Ground ball to short. Nice pick there by Bloomquist. Plenty of time. 1 away here in the 4th inning. Well, time to get you thinking. Trivia question time. Kirk Gibson and Oral Hershiser, one of 3 Dodger duos to win the National League MVP and the Cy Young honors. Who are the others? Kirk, very rare to realize it. He was the MVP. He's the only MVP, I think, the only MVP to not have ever played in an All-Star game, which I guess had to be a tribute to American League outfielders. Gibby didn't make a star team. 1 ball and no strikes. But what a leader. And that's hammered. If it stays fair, it's gone. Right down the line. It is fair. Home run for Diana Navarro. Dodgers get on the board. And the D-back lead is 3-1. For Navarro, his 4th home run. And his first home run right-handed. So Navarro hits the home run to get the Dodgers on the board. And the batter now, Jamie Carroll. High fastball, and he was all over it. As soon as he hit it, he knew it had the distance. All we did is watch Joe West on the foul line to indicate fair. So Navarro hits it out. It is 3-1 Arizona. Jamie Carroll struck out, and as usual, takes the first pitch for a strike. Navarro's last home run was a big one. It beat Tim Lincecum and the Giants and gave Clayton Kershaw a tough 1-0 victory against Tim Lincecum. 1-1 the count to Jamie Carroll. Little low. For Saunders to give up a home run, that's not news. He has allowed 20. 2-0. 2-1. That's hit foul the other way. 2-2 to Jamie Carroll. Josh Lindblom is still throwing in the Dodger bullpen. Eugenio Velez is out on deck. D. Gordon is due up next. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Gordon wearing number 9 and Velez wearing number 3, and Gordon comes out on deck. So with Lindblom, you're thinking about a pinch hitter. Ground ball down to Blomquist, and that'll do it for Jamie. 2 out in the 4th. 3-1 D-backs. Here's Gordon. Tried to bunt for a base hit in the 2nd inning. Tried to just drag it with him, and he hit it too hard. Dragged the bunt to first baseman Nady. Now Eugenio Velez comes out on deck as Gordon checks in. Fastball strike. That's the thing. You have a stringy shortstop. He's about 155 pounds. They're going to try and strong arm him out of the lead. That's going to go foul. 0-2 the count. When he came up the first time, he got a lot of letter high fastballs on the inside part of the plate. Tough pitches to handle. He's in a hole now. 0-2. Breaking ball, pop foul. Ryan Roberts is there, and that'll be that. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 swing of the bat by Diana Navarro, and at the end of 4, D-backs 3, Dodgers 1. Dodger Baseball on Prime Ticket is brought to you by El Pollo Loco. Try a 2-piece leg and thigh combo with 2 small classic sides and a drink for $5 at El Pollo Loco. And by Time Warner Cable. 5th inning with the D-backs leading the Dodgers 3-1. A change of pitcher for the Dodgers. Josh Lindblom will pick up now for Ruby De La Rosa. Ruby just had to make too many pitches. He made 103. He also was a victim of foul balls. He had 28 foul balls, plus he was struggling with his control, and he had 8 3-ball counts. And then he gave up 2 home runs, and finally the big wild pitch and the single by Cowgill on a 3-0 pitch, and that was enough for Ruby. So Josh Lindblom will start it off. Joe Saunders, meanwhile, has made 66 pitches in 4 innings compared to the 103 made by De La Rosa. So here's Josh Lindblom out of Lafayette, Indiana. He'll be facing Kelly Johnson. Ball one. Lindblom pitched the 9th inning last night, made 19 pitches, gave up an infield single to Ryan Roberts. 1-1. Johnson doubled the left and struck out, hitting .219. Off speed and away. 2-1 the count. For Lindblom, he'll get a two-seamer, a good sinking fastball, hard curveball, a slider. Started throwing a cutter last year. And he has a pretty good straight change. In the minor leagues, they talked about the fact that he broke a lot of bats. 3-1. Hit foul off third, out of play. 3-2 the count to Kelly Johnson. I remember Kelly had a bad streak when he was with Atlanta. Something like, he went 0 for 30, and Bobby Cox said it was the best 0 for 30 he could possibly have ever seen. This time he bangs it into the gap, and that's going to go to the wall. So Kelly, with 17 home runs, will hold on at second base with yet another extra base hit. He has 20 doubles, 4 triples, and 17 home runs. And immediately we have a leadoff man at second, and Justin Upton coming up. For Johnson, his second double, one to left, and now this one to right center. Upton, Montero, and Nady trying to pick him up. Upton slammed one off the glove of Ruby De La Rosa. Good backup play by Carroll, got him. Last time up he walked. Justin hitting .303, 21 home runs, 65 runs batted in. Oh and 1. Josh Lindblom, back about 6 years ago, he turned down a lot of money as a third-round pick of the Astros. And then when he signed with the Dodgers, he got twice as much money as he would have gotten from the Astros. Good for him. Smart enough to wait. Spent 1 year at Tennessee and 2 at Purdue. No balls and 2 strikes. Lindblom was extremely impressive a couple of years ago in spring training. He held big league hitters to a 156 batting average, but he had only been pitching in Purdue the year before, so the Dodgers didn't think he was ready. Bad ball. Upton just did get a piece, and he's still there. 0-2. When Lindblom was at Purdue, he was a star closer. And when the Dodgers got him, they thought maybe they'd make a starter out of him. As of right now, as they bring him along, coming in here in the middle of the game. Off the plate, 1-2. 3 runs, 6 hits for the D-backs. They have 2 home runs and 2 doubles. 1 run, 4 hits for the Dodgers, 3 singles and a home run. 1-2 to Justin Upton. Fastball just missed. That's the difference, I'm sure. That pitch in the minor leagues, the hitter's going to go after. But the good major leaguer will take that thing without batting an eye. Just off the corner. 2-2. Meanwhile, Kelly Johnson at second. Nobody out. 5th inning. 3-1 D-backs. Lindblom is certainly big enough to pitch in the big leagues. He's 6'5", 240 pounds. They're always looking for a big guy to pitch. Certainly the Dodgers have one. 24 years old. 2-2. got a little bit of the slider, so it's still 2-2. Justin Upton blowing bubbles, and he's not 24 yet. Two balls and two strikes. And facing that slider, he just did hit it off the end of the bat. Now that's another pitch in the minor leagues the hitter probably would have missed. I mean, that was a great pitch. Now, Upton just did get a touch of it. He has an 11-game hitting streak, and he has a 10-game streak of hitting at least one extra base hit in every game. But like so many players, his splits, as they call him, he's hitting .355 at home, .251 on the road. 2-2. Another foul ball. He has 13 of his 21 home runs at home, 8 on the road, including the one he hit here over the center field wall. You get 2 strikes on Upton, at least at this stage of his development, you get him. With a 2-strike count, he's hitting .174. 2-2. Ball 3. Now when you get out of that 2-2 count or before it, either way, he's hitting .428. .428. And here he is 3-2. And he drives it to center. Kemp is there, has to leap up in the air to catch it, and Johnson moves over to third. So there you have it. 3-ball count, and Upton really stings it and lines out to center with Johnson taking third. You know, every weekday afternoon game, the Dodgers offer half-price food and soft drinks. Plus, you can watch the Dodgers in throwback Brooklyn-era uniforms. The next half-price day, Wednesday, August 10th, 12:10, with the Phillies. To secure your tickets, visit Dodgers.com/throwback. Though Upton lines out, Johnson is now at third. They're going to walk Montero and go right-hander to right-hander with Xavier Nady. So Montero will walk for the second time. So the D-backs got 5 walks from De La Rosa, and they pick up this one now. Last night, the Diamondbacks got 5 walks, and all 5 walks scored, and they went on to win 6-4. So 4 walks by De La Rosa, 1 walk for Lindblom for 5. And in a moment, Xavier Nady. Well, the Dodgers would love to get Nady to hit the ball on the ground. He has only grounded into 3 double plays. Interesting at bat for Justin Upton, making Lindblom work. 2 young pitcher batter going head to head. Upton had a 10-pitch at bat, fouled off 5, including 4 with 2 strikes on him, and then lined out to center. Quite an at bat. So here's Nady, grounded out, struck out, 0 for 2. Big slider. 1 ball and no strikes. Nady taking a look at Matt Williams. Nady 32. He'll be 33 in November. Played baseball at Cal. and he hits a fly ball into right center. Ethier is going to make the catch. Tagging up is Johnson, and he will score easily. Holding at first is Montero. So Nagy gets himself the RBI, and the Diamondbacks lead 4-1.
Coming to the plate, third baseman, Ryan Roberts.
So that big battle at the plate by Justin Upton, where he eventually ran the count 3-2 and then lined out to deep center to get Johnson over, that promptly cashed in. The little things indeed mean a lot. 4 runs, 6 hits for the D-backs, 1 run, 4 hits for the Dodgers. Here's Ryan Roberts, got deep in the count 3-2 and hit a home run and walked and takes a strike. So Kelly Johnson leading the parade, 2 doubles, and they finally cash in the second double. Then they had home runs by Roberts and Parra, and then they had a wild pitch set up a run when Calgill hit a 3-0 pitch for a base hit to drive in that run. Put them all together, D-backs 4 and the Dodgers 1 on the home run by Dion and Navarro. 0-1 to Ryan. San Diego tomorrow night. Arizona Friday night. Roberts is getting to be a pest as far as the pitchers are concerned. Besides the fact he homered and walked, he's been looking at a lot of pitches. 0-2. In his first at bat, he went 3-2. It was an 8-pitch at bat, and he hit a home run. In the 4th inning, in his second at bat, he battled for 9 pitches and got a walk. So now let's see, he's in a hole, no balls and 2 strikes to Josh Lindblom. Montero doesn't figure to do any running at first. In the dirt. Miguel, for the record, 1-for-1 in a stolen base. Montero had 1 stolen base in 2009, so he has 2 stolen bases in his entire career. 1-2. 2-2. You always wonder about that. I mean, the Dodgers know full well that Montero's not going to run. And you wonder, wouldn't they be better off, A, getting Rivera off the bag, and they'd love it if he would run. The veteran catcher, they'd probably get him. But Rivera holding on, 2-2. And there's Ryan Roberts again. He was 0-2, and the next thing you know, he's faced and had 5 pitches. Navarro trying to keep everybody in the game, holding up 2 fingers. 2 out, 3-2. Montero's going to go, and Rivera is still holding the bag. There he goes on ball 4. 6 walks given to Arizona. They lead 4-1. And now Gerardo Parra coming up. Tough game for Rick Honeycutt and for Don Mattingly. Parra had a 1-ball 1-strike count and hit a home run in the 2nd inning. Hit into a force play in the 4th. That was the double play ball. Carroll couldn't handle it. They got the force, and then Parra was wild pitched to 3rd. And then Calgill on a 3-0 pitch allowed to swing, single to center. And that's hit in the air to Campo. Has to go back a little bit, and that's it. However, a double and 2 hard hit fly balls. D-backs get a run and lead 4-1. Of the planet of the apes. On Friday, our world becomes their planet. On Friday, our world becomes their planet. 4-1 in favor of Arizona as we go to the bottom of the fifth inning. Eugenio Velez will bat for Josh Lindblom. So Velez followed by Gwynn and then Miles. For Velez, looking for his first hit as a Dodger. He is 0 for 14, the former Giant. Last appearance last night, he hit the ball hard in the ninth inning and flied out to left field. Eugenio is switch hitter, batting right-handed. And here we go with Joe Saunders. Fastball strike. Velez has had 5 at-bats right-handed, 9 at-bats left-handed. They pull up the corners in case he tries to bunt. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dodgers 1 hit through 4 innings. The home run by Navarro got him on the board. Ethier has 2 hits. Kemp has the other single. 1 ball and 1 strike. Looked like a change, and it was. 1-2 the count. The amazing thing about big league pitchers who have the same arm speed, and it'll drop in velocity 10-15 miles an hour. Fastball grounded to third, gobbled up there by Ryan Roberts. So Velez taps to third, and we have 1 away in the fifth inning. Remember the trivia question?
10, Tony Gwynn Jr.
Talking about Kirk Gibson, Oral Hershiser, 1 of 3 Dodger pitchers to win the National League MVP and Cy Young in the same year. Yeah, Maury Wilson, Don Drysdale, the duo in 1962. Steve Garvey and Mike Marshall in 1974. A drag bunt by Gwynn is foul, 0-1. A moment ago, we showed you a picture of Kirk Gibson as a reminder. Kirk Gibson is the last MVP of either league who have gone on to win the World Series. Yep. And of course, before that, he had a big series with Detroit to beat San Diego in 1984. Gwynn is 0 for 2. 1-1. Tony hitting .261. 14 runs batted in. And a high fly ball to center, but playable. Cowgill is there. 2 out here in the fifth inning. And the batter will be Aaron Miles. Miles hitting right-handed, grounded out and reached on the error by Ryan Roberts. That was the one look the Dodgers had at the game. If you weren't with us, with 2 out, hard ground ball. Roberts short hopped it on the run, threw high. Nady couldn't get a tag on Miles. Then Ethier came up and singled, and then everybody moved up in their chairs. Matt Kemp came up. Only this time, Matt Kemp hit a little fly ball to left field. Now, that was the one look so far. 4 runs, 6 hits for the D-backs, 1 run, 4 hits for the Dodgers. Giants lost. They were ripped by Cincinnati 9-0. So Arizona trying to hang on. They would then lead here 2 games behind the Giants with 9 games left to play San Francisco. the only fly in the ointment for Kurt Gibson in Arizona. In the 9 games they have played with the Giants, they've lost 7 of the 9. Ground ball to short. Bloomquist to Nady, and that's that. Dodgers tiptoe through the 5th. And at the end of 5, 4-1 D-backs. Signed him in New York. The newspaper said Walter Who. And in 1955, he led the Dodgers to a world championship for Brooklyn. I remember sending him a Christmas card at the end of 55 to Mr. and Mrs. Walter Alston, Dartown, Ohio. It actually came back to me, address unknown. Well, the world got to know Walter Alston after 1955. And on this day in 1983, Walter Who? Walter Alston entered the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, he had a heart attack, and his grandson accepted for him. Quite a guy. Let's go back to this one. Two dozen, as they used to call him. Some of the players referred to him that way. He was very quiet, very, very strong, both physically and mentally. And when he was angry, he did not get flushed. He did not have that red face when he was angry. He was tablecloth white. And when you saw that look, everybody backed away. 4-1 in favor of the D-backs. Blake Hawksworth working on Colin Cogwell. Third Dodger pitcher, De La Rosa, then Lindblom. No balls, 1 strike. Breaking ball missed. The Hawk is out of British Columbia in Canada. Came to the Dodgers in the deal that sent Ryan Theriot to St. Louis. Interesting. Ryan Theriot is in a terrible slump for the Cardinals. He was playing shortstop. So Rafael Furcal was traded to St. Louis. And Rafael will take over for the slumping Ryan Theriot. And the baseball world goes round and round. 2 balls and 1 strike. Cowgill now with a 3-1 count. He walked in the 2nd inning. Had a 3-0 count and single to center in the 4th. And I guess there's nothing that irritates a manager more than to have that 8th place hitter constantly getting on base. 3-2. Blake Hawksworth, 28 years old. And that's going to go foul down the line, well back into the crowd. Sun is out. A lot of that overcast, a lot of those storm clouds have moved out. A huge canopy of blue now overhead, and a lot of sunshine. We're in the sixth, 4-1 Arizona. Another foul ball. Colin Caldwell battling Hawksworth. The right-hand hitter's 5'9", but he weighs about 195. And down he goes on the fastball. That was 92. So one out in the sixth inning, and Joe Saunders coming up. Fastball on the outside part of the plate, maybe. Looked like it was outside the zone. Hawksworth will take it. For Blake Hawksworth, in looking at his numbers, 2-2. Less hits than innings pitched. That's always a good sign. And 2.5 times strikeouts to walks. That's an even better sign. 1 ball and no strikes to Saunders. Struck out trying to bunt in the second inning. Struck out trying to bunt in the fourth. Base is empty, so he's on his own. 2-0. Saunders, of course, spent a lot of time in the American League, so he really didn't much of a chance to swing the bat. He's been in the National League since last year. All the other times with the Angels. And ball 3. 4 runs, 6 hits for the D-backs. They picked up 2 in the second inning, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth. 2 runs against De La Rosa on home runs. 3-0 to Joe Saunders. 3-1. Hawksworth has now made 12 pitches after going 3-2 to Caldwell. And a line drive and a nice play by Aaron Miles. The Saunders comes close to a hit, but Aaron Miles stands in the way and takes it away from him. Line drive just to the gloved side. 2 out, 6th inning, and Willie Bloomquist coming up. Bloomquist, single to right, was thrown out trying to steal only because of a great tag by D. Gordon. Since then, grounded to second and struck out. Willie hitting .282, 1 for 3. Had a scoring fly ball last night, home run the game before. Dodger pitchers have been wild. I know they've walked 6, but they've really been wild in trying to throw strikes. Diamondbacks have sent 27 men to the plate, and more than half of them have gone to a 3-ball count. And they've made the Dodgers pay in those appearances. Total of 6 walks, 2 doubles, a single, a home run, a long fly ball to produce a run, and the other home run was hit on a 1-1 count. 2-1 to Bloomquist. Two and 2. Of course, a lot of it is distorted by the 4 innings that Ruby De La Rosa pitched. The pitches: 21 in the first inning, 27 in the second inning, 31 in the third inning, 24 in the fourth inning, and he was gone with 103. Foul back. Then in the 5th inning, Josh Lindblom came in, and he made 29 pitches. So the Dodgers have been laboring on the mound. 4-1 D-backs, 2 out, 6th inning. Dodgers will have Ethier, Kemp, and Rivera in the bottom half. Foul ball. So again, it's a case of an Arizona hitter getting deep into the count, fouling off the pitches. So far, 6 pitches, 4 foul balls. So they're doing just enough to drive the pitchers a little batty, with the accent on batty. 2-2. And hit in the air to Kemp. So a 1-2-3 inning for the first time today, turned in by the Hawk. Here come the Dodgers, Ethier, Kemp, and Rivera, 4-1 D-backs. Back in the 1st inning, it was a marvelous athletic move by D. Gordon on a high throw. Somehow he spears it, he tags, he rolls over, and holds on to the ball. Deanna Navarro pointing out to him, Zip say, good play. D. Gordon saved a run on that play because Kelly Johnson then followed with a double that would have scored Bloomquist. So it is still 4-1 in favor of the D-backs. And in the 6th inning, the Dodgers wheel up Ethier, Kemp, and Rivera to see if they can make a little noise. For the Dodgers, by the way, every inning the pitcher has made at least 20 pitches. Foul ball. Hawksworth joined the fun when he came in to pitch the 6th. He made 20 pitches. Andre Ethier, single to center in the 1st, single to center in the 3rd, 2 for 2 against the left-hander. Of course, he had a good pass against Saunders. He was hitting .313. So with his 2 hits today, 7 for 18 with a home run. Comebacker right under the glove into center field. So Andre Ethier having a rare day as far as getting hits against a left-hand pitcher. 3 for 3. So Andre opens up, and that'll bring up Matt Kemp. Matt Kemp singled to center in the 1st inning. Came up with 2 on and 2 out and flied out to left field in the 3rd. Matt hitting .316, 26 home runs, 82 runs batted in. Rivera on deck as the Dodgers try to shake themselves and get something going. Pulled foul down the line. Turning on a pitch down and in, and that thing was foul the moment it left the bat. 0-1. Kemp against Saunders came in with 5 hits and 2 home runs. And that's lifted but very playable to right field. Justin Upton is there fighting the sun, makes the catch. Boy, there is an art to playing big leagues in the outfield. With the bill of the cap, with the glove and the glasses. If you're fortunate, if you've picked it up right away, you're okay. Most of the time, it's not just the sky. If you're in the outfield looking in towards home plate, and you're looking into a lot of shirt sleeves, a lot of color, you're looking for the ball in between levels in the ballpark, and you hope to pick it up in one level and not lose it in the next. It can be very tough. So 1 away, and here's Rivera. 1 ball and no strikes. Rivera popped up to short, grounded to short, 0 for 2. Tim Wallach gives him a wide berth out of the third base coaching box. 1 ball and no strikes. A little while ago when the game started, we were talking about Ruby De La Rosa wearing the uniform number that he wore in the minor leagues. Since Rafael Furcal has departed, Davey Lopes gets back the uniform number he wore so well, so gracefully, and so long. Davey back wearing his old number 15. One ball and no strikes. That's going to be a base hit into left field. Ethiel will stop at second. 2 on, 1 out. And Diona Navarro coming up. Navarro fouled out in the second inning. Homered in the fourth. Got a high fastball, and boy, he knew what to do with it. He hammered that thing. Andre Ethier standing out at second base is worthy of a note. He came into the series without a 3-hit game in his last 26 games. And he has had 2 3-hit games in this 3-game series. So Navarro representing the tying run. Ball 1. Then looking at Saunders' work, he's coming off a 9-inning game against San Diego. Before that, mostly 6 and/or 7 innings. Well, he's in the 6th now. Last game, he made 99 pitches. And that's a strike. Good change outside part of the plate. Joe, 30 years old. His pitch count is up to 85 now. One ball and 1 strike. Breaking ball in there, 1 and 2. Anything but a high fastball. That's the pitch that Navarro hit out. By the way, to conclude the thought about number 15 that went from Rafael Furcal to Davey Lopes, Lopes has arrived in St. Louis, and he has been given number 15 by John Jay. Or at least it's been put aside until Rafael gets there. Curveball grounded wide. Roberts up with it. They get the force. They get 2, and that's that. So Navarro grounding into the double play. No runs, 2 hits, 1 left. 17 double plays turned in behind Sanders, and it's 4-1 Arizona. Off on the right foot, in fact 2 feet in the second inning. First it was Ryan Roberts, a high fastball 3-2 that he hit out into the left field seats, and then Gerardo Parra, a pitch down around the knees, he hit it into the center field seats. So the back-to-back home runs gave the D-backs a 2-0 lead. They led 3-0, 3-1, and 4-1. Ryan Roberts cooling off in the dugout. And the D-backs now coming up in the bottom of the 7th. Or, excuse me, in the top of the 7th when the Dodgers come up. Carroll, Gordon, and we'll see about the pitcher. So the Hawk working on Kelly Johnson, who is 2 for 3, 2 doubles. Ball 1. Kelly hitting .221. 17 home runs, 46 runs batted in. And a high fly ball to Gwynn. One out, 7th inning. You know, you can follow the Dodgers with the MLB.com at Bat 11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. You'll get live audio, pitch-by-pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text @BAT to 31826 or visit Dodgers.com for details. Here's Upton, still fighting to keep his streak alive. He has walked, and he has hit 2 balls very hard, but he's 0 for 2. And a strike. Almost took the glove of De La Rosa's hand with a line drive that was backed up by Carroll and turned into an out. And in the 5th inning, a 10-pitch at bat and hit a bullet that Kemp flagged deep in center field. 1-1 to Justin Upton, batting .302, 21 home runs. He hit 2 in San Diego to get to 20. And he hit number 21 over the center field fence here. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ground ball to short. In the dirt. Nice pick by Juan Rivera. 2 down in the 7th inning. Figures that Upton will probably have 1 more at bat, maybe. So Gordon saved by Rivera from throwing 1 away, and Miguel Montero, catcher, struck out in the 1st inning, walked in the 3rd, was intentionally walked in the 5th. Montero hitting .275, 12 home runs, 54 runs batted in. First ball swinging, and he hurt his right hand. 0-1. You forget when you try to turn your wrists and you're holding something, you're going to hurt something, and his right hand. There's the turn. Left hand is the top hand, but it forced the right hand back and over, and that hurt. Still not quite ready. No balls and 1 strike. How'd that swing feel? Not so good, I'm sure. Of course, the knob of the bat can really hurt your hand. You've heard of so many players breaking the hamate bone and having to have surgery. Yeah, it's still sore, no doubt about it. 0-2. Ball 1. 4-1 in favor of the D-backs. Final game of the 3-game series. The halfway point in the schedule between these two. They played, and the D-backs have won 5 out of 8, trying to make it 6 out of 9. And line drive right at Rivera. So Montero might have hurt his hand on 2 swings, but out he goes on the line drive. And at the end of 6 1/2, 4-1 Arizona. You can realize that Saunders has not had too many problems, except from an area from which you would expect problems. Messrs. Ethier, Kemp, and then Rivera. And then unexpectedly, the home run by Navarro to give them their only run. But the key is always the top two hitters, and Gwynn and Miles have not been able to get on base, and consequently Ethier's big day so far, not much of an effect. Jamie Carroll will start it off, then D. Gordon, and we'll have a hitter for the Hawk. Ball one. Down in the Dodger bullpen, Hung Chi Kuo loosening up. That's a strike. When Navarro hit into the double play in the sixth inning, as we told you, no surprise. They've turned 17 double plays behind Joe Saunders and 95 double plays since 2008. That's a drive to right center and shallow. Here comes Cowgill. Can't get it. Backed up by Upton. The fly ball single for Jamie Carroll. Saunders now giving up his seventh hit, and it'll bring up D. Gordon. Tried to drag bunt for a base hit and tapped it too hard to Nady, and then last time up fouled out to Ryan Roberts. Saunders has his pitch count up into the 80s. Gordon 0 for 2. Ground ball hard to short. They get one, they get two, and he's at it again. 18 double plays turned in behind Joe Saunders. 96 double plays have been turned in since 2008, whether he's pitching for the Angels or the D-backs. Jaime Garcia has 18 this year. John Lannon has 21. So it's remarkable help to get double plays, as Trent Olgen now will come up and bat for the Hawks. So Trent Olgen, following the double play, 2 out in the 7th. Double play stopped the Dodgers cold in the 6th. It has certainly slowed them down here in the 7th. Trent Olgen hitting .237. He has a home run, 4 runs batted in. He has never faced Saunders, and that's ball 1. So the Hawk went 2 innings, had 1 strikeout. Still 4-1. In his 2 innings, he made 29 pitches. That's a pop fly, a trio, and it will be Cowgill. So Olsen, little fly ball. Dodgers are done in the 7th, and at the end of 7, it's 4-1 Arizona. Pitches. He only made 6 pitches in the 7th inning, and as usual, he has that double play working. That's amazing. 18 double plays back of him this year, and 96 since 2008. So we'll keep an eye. Remember, the weaker spot in the Arizona attack was their bullpen, but they have Putz back. And they just made a deal for Brad Ziegler, who was pitching very well for Oakland. Meanwhile, talking about bullpen, for the 3rd time, the Dodgers bring in someone from the pen: Lindblom, Hawksworth, and now Kuo. Hung-Chi Kuo fighting his control the last time that we saw him. He is 0-1. His earned run average is 12, though it's been a battle. And the battle is in the 2 columns: 15 walks, 16 strikeouts. When he's on the beam, he might have the 16 strikeouts, but he'd only have 3 walks. But not right now. He will be facing Nady, Roberts, and Parra. We go to the 8th. 4-1 Arizona. They've been leading all day since the back-to-back home runs in the 2nd inning. Nady has grounded out, struck out, and a scoring fly ball. Little ground ball to 3rd for Miles. 1 away. For Arizona, They have really stopped doing anything since the leadoff double by Kelly Johnson in the 5th inning. They do not have a hit, and they're into 1 out in the 8th. Here's Roberts. Homered on a 3-2 pitch and twice walked. And a strike. What Arizona did, they traded away Brandon Allen, their first baseman, and a right-hand pitcher, Jordan Norberto, to get Ziegler. So when the Dodgers see Arizona over next weekend in Phoenix, among those they will be contending against figures to be Ziegler. Ryan Roberts has been the most patient guy in the whole world, it seems. Remember, his home run was on a 3-2 pitch, and he has walked twice. So he's had 3 plate appearances, and he has seen 23 pitches, and he's looked at 3 more. And promptly bangs that for a base hit. So Roberts 2 for 2 with a home run and a line drive single. Again, we repeat, Cincinnati walloped the Giants 9-0. So for Arizona, they have a chance to cut the Giant lead to 2, and they're going to be facing the Giants. They've only won 2 of 9 against San Francisco, but that's where they're heading. They will play the Giants Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, while the Dodgers are playing San Diego, and then they'll collide again in Phoenix. There'll be a big series coming up. Arizona, San Francisco, starting tomorrow night. Here's Parra, a strike. Gerardo homered, hit into a force play, which was a double play. Only Carroll couldn't handle a hard hit ball except to get a force. And eventually a wild pitch sent Parra to third. Cowgill on a 3-0 pitch singled, and the D-backs had a gift run. Paid attendance today, 43,935. 43,935. Don't forget, when the Dodgers come home, they open up with the Phillies. Philadelphia leading Atlanta comfortably by 5. Atlanta lost their center fielder, Nate McLouth, so they made a deal with Houston and picked up Michael Bourne to see if they can't catch the leading Phillies, who picked up Hunter Spence from Houston to try and increase their chances, while the Giants picked up Carlos Beltran, who for the moment has been a disappointment. Beltran 2 for 17 since joining his new club, the Giants. 2-1 to Parra. And he hits one in the air to deep right center. Back goes Ethier, way back. It is gone. The Parra hits his second home run of the day, and that tears it wide open. It is 6-1 in favor of Arizona. And for Hung-Chi Kuo, another tough outing. That is only the second home run that he's allowed this year. So Parra hits 2 today to give him 7. He hit that thing a long way, and a fan makes a fine one-hand catch, taking that away from someone who was trying to make the hat trick. So add 2 to Arizona to lead comfortably for Gerardo Parra, his first career multi-hit home run game. So Gerardo will remember that for a little while anyway. Parra is from Santa Barbara del Zulia in the Dominican, and he's only 24. He looks like he's going to have a good year and a good career. 1-1. One of the things that Parra has done to get their attention, when they're behind, he hits very well in the clutch. They're in front now, 6-1. 2 balls and 1 strike to Colin Cowgill. Meanwhile, Parra talking to old friend Don Baylor. And I'm sure as the hitting instructor, Baylor proud that one of his students has connected. 3-1 the count to Cowgill. He walked. He singled on a 3-0 pitch, and then last time up struck out. Three and 1. And he walked him. So Quo got needy on a ground ball, gave up a single to Roberts, gives up the home run to Parra, walks Cowgill, and that'll bring up Joe Saunders. Saunders has struck out twice and lined out, lost a base hit on a nice play by Aaron Miles. Big Jim Tomei just hit a home run to give the Twins a lead. But Oakland is out in front now, 7-3. But the big thing about Tomei, he hit a home run, number 597. 3 away for Tomei from the magic 600. The little time that Jim Tomei was here, you can understand why he is, without a doubt, one of the most popular players to ever play for any team. 1-1. 6-1 in favor of Arizona. Final game of the 3-game series. Then it's on to San Diego and back to Arizona. Cowgill at first, 1 away. Saunders gets the bunt down, but foul. 1-2. Joe came into the game with 1 bunt, 1 sacrifice. But this is the 3rd time they've asked him to get a bunt down, and he's 0 for 2 today. By the way, that home run by Gerardo Parra, a left-hand batter hitting a home run against Hung-Chi Kuo. That's the first time a left-hander has hit a home run against Kuo since August the 7th, 2009. Who was the last left-hander? Well, Parra can go over and talk to him. It's his teammate, Kelly Johnson. Remember how he just dominated left-hand hitters last year. Last year, left-hand hitters against Hung-Chi Kuo were 6 for 63. And this year, 6 for 19. Boy, have the Dodgers been making a lot of pitches, and the D-backs taking him. Nice sprawling try by Miles, but he comes up empty, and so Saunders gets the base hit, and the beat continues. 2 on, still 1 out, and Willie Bloomquist coming up. So Saunders couldn't bunt twice. 3rd time, lined out to 3rd. This time he finally got it by Miles and gets the hit. So 3 hits and a walk for 2 runs so far. Bloomquist single to right, grounded out, struck out, flied out. Don't want to overwhelm you with numbers, so understand what we're talking about here. How the Dodgers have made so many pitches to the Arizona batters. Bloomquist, in his 4 at-bats, saw 21 pitches. And he's already seen 1-1 on the wild pitch. So this game is deteriorating a little bit here in the 8th inning. Justin Upton, in his 4 plate appearances, saw 26 pitches. Ryan Roberts, in his 4 plate appearances, 27 pitches. But of course, remember, young Ruby De La Rosa began the game and made 103 pitches in 4 innings. So it's been a bad game for the Dodger pitchers. Infield up now. 1-2 to Willie. De La Rosa had a 2-base wild pitch. Quo has uncorked one. 1-2 count to Bloomquist, who's hitting .280. That's a big strikeout to leave runners at second and third. Now the batter is Kelly Johnson, who was the last left-hander to hit a home run against Quo. Now here he comes again. Kelly today 2 doubles, struck out, fly to left. Whoops, ball 1. Another frustrating thing, I guess, for Dodger pitchers, you take the number 8 hitter in the Arizona lineup. That's Cowgill. At 5'9", you don't expect any power from him. But they have pitched to Cowgill as if he were Willie Mays. He has walked twice and singled in 3 at-bats. Don Mattingly saw Cowgill have 20 pitches, the number 8 hitter in the lineup. 1-1. That's a strike. So Quo facing a strikeout hitter, if that's not an oxymoron. Johnson has struck out 113 times, but he has 17 home runs and 46 runs batted in. So he's going to look at least 5 pitches. The only inning that had any sanity for the Dodgers from the mound would be the 7th inning, when Hawksworth made 9 pitches and retired the side. Otherwise, it's been a mess. And down goes Johnson, striking out twice today. However, damage has been done. D-backs pick up 2 more, and they lead 4-1. 6-1 in favor of Arizona. You could call it the gathering storm, and all you have to do is look out past right center and look at those clouds gathering up. There's got to be rain in the mountains, I would guess, right about now. Bottom of the 8th inning, D-backs leading 6-1, and a strike to Tony Gwynn. Tony has struck out, grounded out, flied out, 0 for 3. I don't know why. Do you remember the show Our Miss Brooks? It used to be on radio years ago. She was listening to the weather report, and somehow the radio line got mixed up, and she was listening to a radio weather report in India. That'll do it for Tony. Eve Arden, exactly. She starred in it. And they're listening, and the weatherman says on the radio, "Tether your elephants." And the reaction of them saying, "Tether our elephants?" Well, up there in the mountains and looking at those clouds in right center like shaving cream or whipped cream piled on top, I would think somewhere up there they're going to have to tether their elephants. One away in the 8th, 6-1 D-backs. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. It's that stage of the game where you do start talking about the weather to the guy sitting next to you in the ballpark, isn't it? I mean, to be honest. Miles, 3 ground balls, one of them thrown away by Ryan Roberts. And pops it up. It will be Roberts in foul ground. So quickly 2 out in the 8th inning. And the batter is Andre Ethier, having a big day. The Padres are leading the Rockies 8-3 in the top of the 9th inning, and Heath Bell came into the game to close it out. I think the biggest surprise that I've certainly had during all these trades, the fact that Heath Bell was not traded by San Diego. Maybe the price was too high. We thought it was a cinch he was going to go. Instead, Mike Adams left the bullpen and went to Texas. 1 ball and no strikes. Andre Ethier 3 times has singled to center. Average back up over 300 again. Andre hitting .304. Joe Saunders trying to balance his books and pick up his 8th win. He has lost 8. That's a strike. 2-1. And pitching into the 8th inning. He went 9 his last time against San Diego, but that's it. Never came close again. And that's going to be Ethier's 4th hit. So Andre Ethier gets both ears and a tail today. And against Saunders, he had 5 hits. So he now has 9 hits in 20 at-bats against the left-hander. So a big day for Ethier, but a pretty sour day for the Dodgers all around. And Matt Kemp coming up. Matt Kemp, single to center, fly to left, fly to right. And now I think Kirk figures I have pushed my left-hander far enough. Joe has 2 outs in the 8th inning. The pen is busy. It's mightier than the sword. And Ryan Cook, youngster just called up yesterday, might be coming in. Let's see. I think Kirk is just asking Joe, any gas left in the tank? I mean, they're leading comfortably 6-1. The best Kemp can do is get it to 6-3. And Joe's finally going to come out. So he got 2 out in the 8th inning when he gave up a base hit. Goes out leading 6-1, and we'll be back. Here today, and he probably remembers the last time he gave up 4 hits to a left-hand hitter. It was last year, October the 2nd, and he gave up 4 hits to a left-hand hitter named Andre Ethier. So that's twice in a year that Andre has worn him out, and after struggling for over 2 weeks, hitting about 160, Ethier comes alive. It's 500 in the series, going 8 for 16. For Joe Saunders, he made a total of 103 pitches. And now they give the ball to a fellow who arrived with the ball club yesterday. That would be Ryan Cook. Ryan Cook just called up from Reno, appeared against the Dodgers last night. He came in and made 16 pitches in the 6th inning. And in that inning, he gave up a single to Rivera. He walked Carroll, struck out Barajas, and then they lifted him for the left-hander Joe Patterson. So Cook is now facing Matt Kemp. Ball 1, 1-0. Ryan Cook from Clovis, California. Went to Clovis High. Accepted a baseball scholarship to USC. He was drafted out of USC in 2008. Fastball sliced to right field. It is going to be off the glove of Upton, and Ethier goes to third. So near and yet so far for Justin Upton, trying to catch that little flare to right field. So Kemp, bloop single to right. Ethier with 2 out going to third. Matt Kemp goes 2 for 4. So between Ethier and Kemp, you have a half a dozen hits, and yet neither man has scored. Ethier twice has gotten to third. So 2 out, first and third. Here's Rivera. Popped up, grounded out, and singled. Had a base hit against Cook last night. Ryan Cook, 24 years old, facing Rivera. And ball 1. Made a pretty good pitch to Kemp, let's face it. And a flare to right field. So Matt at first. We'll see if he's thinking about going after number 29. Held on by Nady. 1-0 to Rivera. He bluffs, does Kemp, and the pitch off the plate. 2-0. So with 2 out, Andre Ethier single to left, his 4th hit. That was enough for Saunders. Then Kemp a flare single against Cook. And here's Rivera hitting .289. Fastball for a strike. Arizona on its way to San Francisco, and the Dodgers on their way to San Diego. Giants lost today 9-0. 2-1. Ground ball through that huge hole into right field. Scoring is Ethier. Kemp goes to third, and the Dodgers still alive, trailing 6-2 in the 8th inning. So Rivera has faced Ryan Cook twice, and he singled twice, this time to cash in Ethier. The run is charged to Saunders. 6-2 Arizona. Remember, their bullpen has been faulty all year. In fact, the one pitcher who has pitched well in the absence of J.J. Putz is in the pen right now and warming up. That's David Hernandez. And I think Gibson is not going to fool around with young Ryan Cook. So Diana Navarro, the switch hitting catcher who had homered today, he'll be coming up. Cook will be gone out. Hernandez will be coming in and will be coming back. Cook had to leave. He was a little bit unlucky how close it was for Justin Upton to catch that flare off the bat of Matt Kemp. But Upton didn't catch it for what would have been the 3rd out. It went for a single for Kemp. Then Rivera singled for a run. And now Diana Navarro, who homered right-handed in the 4th inning. He's also grounded into a double play. Up there with 1st and 3rd, 2 out, 6-2 Diamondbacks in the 8th. David Hernandez starts him off with a strike. Hernandez has been a standout in relief when Putz was out. Navarro, meanwhile, checking in, hitting .200. Oh, and 2. Earlier, batting right-handed, Diana Navarro got a ball up, and was no doubt about it. As long as it stayed fair, you knew it had plenty of distance. Well, Navarro hit it out. That was his 4th home run. Navarro's 3 of his 4 he's hit left-handed. Ball 1. David Hernandez out of Sacramento. Went to junior college up there. Drafted 3 times before he actually began his career. Rockies wanted him. Diamondbacks wanted him. Orioles wanted him. Orioles got him. And then the D-backs traded Mark Reynolds and got David. 26 years old. And down goes Navarro, and down go the Dodgers here in the 8th inning. They were fortunate to get a run. They had 3 hits and they leave 2, and at the end of 8, 6-2 Arizona. Leading the Dodgers 6-2. Arizona trying to cut San Francisco's lead to 2 and then go up there and face them in 3 with an extra arm in the bullpen in Brad Ziegler, the right-hander they picked up from Oakland. For the Dodgers, it's been De La Rosa for 2 runs, Lindblom for 2, and then Hawkworth, and then Quo gave up 2, and now McDougal. So Mike coming in to face Upton, Montero, and Nady. Final score down south, the Padres getting ready for the Dodgers. Knocked off the Rockies 8-3. They got into the Colorado bullpen for 6 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to come from behind. Juan Nicasio had struck out 10 Padres in 7 innings, made only 98 pitches, and the bullpen let it get away. Jesus Guzman had 3 RBIs for San Diego, and for Heath Bell, he struck out 2 in the 9th inning to wrap it up. Justin Upton's streak is on the line. He has hit safely in 11 in a row. He's had a 10 straight hitting streak with an extra base hit in each of the 10. But he is 0 for 3. He had a 10-pitch at bat in the 5th inning, and that was really something. And then he hit the 11th pitch right on the button, but right at Matt Kemp. Two and 0. Upton 0 for 3 with a walk. He might easily have extended the streak of base hits to 12 with the ball he hit in the 1st inning. A shot almost took the glove of De La Rosa's hand, but he slowed it down enough for Carroll to go behind second base and throw him out. Otherwise, that's the base hit, and the streak continues. 3 and 0. 3 and 1. Things like that will stop a streak, and that's what makes Joe DiMaggio's 56-game streak so special. So many things can happen to break it up. 3 and 1. And that's going to be flared into right field. Base hit. So Justin Upton, after hitting the ball so hard, and isn't that the way this game is played? He hits a little fly ball single. He'll take it. That means he has hit safely in 12 in a row. And the batter will be Miguel Montero. Montero has struck out, walked twice, and lined out to Rivera. Six to 2 in favor of Arizona in the ninth. Upton has stolen 16. He'll put a little heat on Mike McDougald. That's a strike to Miguel, 0-1. Montero came into the game hitting .276, so he's given up a few points. He has 12 home runs, 54 runs batted in. And fouled away upstairs off to the left. Good fastball at 94. No balls and 2 strikes. Mike McDougald out of Las Vegas, lives at Marco Island in Florida. Went to school at Wake Forest. He was a #1 pick with the Royals way back in 1999. McDougald is 6'3", about 190 pounds. He made it to the Royals, stayed with them, although he was up and down to Omaha, and finally went to the White Sox. Then he was up and down to Wichita. Check swing, 1-2. Eventually from the White Sox might wink to the Nationals, then to the Cardinals, and now here he is. One and 2 to Montero. 2-2. Big moment in his collegiate career. Mike McDougald, pitching for Wake Forest, pitched a no-hitter against the Duke Blue Devils. His father, Tom, was a pitcher in the Kansas City A's farm system. His dad was a teammate of Sal Bando, Raleigh Fingers, Joe Rudy. Pretty big stars. McDougald broke in nicely with the Royals. He had 2 saves in the first 2 games he appeared in the big leagues. 3-2. Upton goes, and it's hit down the left field line, slicing off with Gwynn in pursuit. Gwynn disappearing, trying to make a backhand catch, couldn't hold on to it. And let's see, is he okay? We can look at it on camera. We couldn't see it live. Hit the heel of his glove, and then he slammed into the wall. Maybe Tony took his eye off the ball for a split second because he knew he was running out of real estate. Want to make sure he's okay, and apparently so. Dodger pitchers today, if you've been watching this game since the first pitch to Willie Bloomquist, the Dodger pitchers today have made more pitches than any other game this year, including extra inning games. They've eclipsed the 200 pitch mark only 4 times in the last 10 years, and they've done it today. All right, Tony's okay. 3-2 the count to Montero. Runner goes, another foul ball. Years ago, when Mike McDougall was pitching for Kansas City, and they would bring him in the 9th inning, he got a pretty good nickname in Kansas City. They called him Mike the Ninth. Not bad. Well, he's in the 9th inning today. Whoa, throws it away. Karam's off the seats. Over to pick it up is Carroll. Throws down. Not in time. So an errant picked off throw, and Upton is now at second base. Be an error charged to Mac the Ninth. 3-2 the count to Montero. Upton at second base. 6 runs, 10 hits for the Diamondbacks. 2 runs, 10 hits for the Dodgers. An error on each side. By the way, when the Dodgers come up in the bottom of the 9th, Jamie Carroll will start it off. 3-2. Ground ball to short. D. Gordon is on it. Takes care of the veteran catcher. Upton, with the ball hit ahead of him, had to hold his ground. So 1 out. Upton at second base. That pickoff that got away. Otherwise, that's a double play ball. So here's Xavier Nady. Grounded to second, struck out, had a scoring fly ball, his sacrifice in the 5th inning, grounded out in the 8th. 0 for 3 with a run batted in. Last night, Nady had a sacrifice fly to pick up a run in the 6th inning. In the game before, game 1 of the series, Nady 1 for 4 with a double. 1 ball and no strikes. 1 out. Upton at second. 6-2 Arizona. One and 0. .93-mile-an-hour fastball that got by Nady. 1-1 to Xavier. Six runs, 10 hits for the D-backs. 2 runs, 10 hits for the Dodgers. A little low, ball 2. 2-1. Mike McDougall. On deck, Ryan Roberts. 2-1 to Nady. Breaking ball in there. 2-2. D-backs scored 2 in the 2nd, 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, and then 2 more in the 8th. Dodgers scored in the 4th and in the 8th. Ground ball back a third. Long throw for Miles on the money. And again with the ball hit ahead of him. Upton nowhere to go. So 2 out. And Ryan Roberts coming up. Ryan Roberts homered on a 3-2 pitch in the 2nd inning. Walked in the 4th, walked in the 5th, and then singled in the 8th. Ryan 2 for 2. Slider down and away, 0-1. In the Arizona bullpen, Sam Demmel is warming up. J.J. Putz, normally the closer. Putz, remember, was on the DL, just came back. He had tendonitis in the shoulder. He pitched last night and made 19 pitches, so Kirk doesn't want to bring him back in today. 0-1. Fastball, slow roller. D. Gordon is there. So the D-backs waste a chance of adding another, but nevertheless, we go to the bottom of the 9th. Arizona leads the Dodgers 6-2. Go to the bottom of the ninth. Dodgers trying to come back. They'll have Jamie Carroll and D. Gordon, then a hitter for McDougald. And on the mound for Arizona, Sam Demmel. Dodgers have certainly seen Demmel in the past, and he's asked to close up. We want to double check a minute because they told us Demmel was coming in, but David Hernandez has gone out to the mound, so hold on. 1 ball and no strike. So Hernandez, never mind Demmel. 6-2 in favor of Arizona in the bottom of the ninth. Two and one to count. Hernandez pitched the 8th inning last night. Came in and pitched a third of an out to strike out Navarro in the 8th. Now he's on his own in the 9th. 2-1. That's fouled away. Jamie Carroll has struck out, grounded out, and singled to right. 1 for 3, hitting .294. Two and two. Foul back. The Dodgers today in 9 innings against Arizona had at least 20 pitches in every inning but the 7th. That's when Blake Hawksworth made only 9 pitches. McDougald just finished the 9th and he made 20 pitches. So the Dodgers staff made 209 pitches today. Fastball fouled away. So David Hernandez trying to close it up. It's been Saunders, Cook, and then Hernandez. Off the corner. And very high. So the Dodgers get a leadoff man aboard, down by 4 in the 9th. D. Gordon is coming up and looking at Tim Wallach all the way.
Shortstop number 9, D. Gordon.
D. Gordon tried to drag bunt for a base hit and grounded it instead to first baseman Nady. Since then fouled out and hit into a double play. James Loney is out on deck. He would bat for McDougald. The outfield on Gordon is split with Parra and Cowgill on the left side, with Parra very shallow and Upton just about straight away. Gives him a little more of straightaway right field. 1 ball and no strikes to D. Gordon. He was coming up here last night as Rafael Furcal was gathering his gear and leaving town for St. Louis. 1 ball and no strikes. And ball 2. So Hernandez pitched the 8th inning last night. He pitched to just 1 batter in the 8th inning today. Now trying to go to the 9th. And he's behind after walking Carroll. In there. 2-1. They're going to get a right-hander up in the bullpen. And it's J.J. Putz. Two and 2 the count to D. Gordon. 6 runs, 10 hits, and 1 error for the D-backs. 2 runs, 10 hits, and 1 error for the Dodgers. D-backs might have scored a lot more. They were something like 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. 2-2. Ground ball, foul. So Carroll back to first. Two and two. Ground ball through into left field for a base hit. So the Dodgers trying to get off the floor here in the ninth inning. Have a walk, a single to left for Gordon. And with 2 on and nobody out, James Loney is coming up. And let's see whether Charles Nagy has more than just advice for David Hernandez. Sometimes pitchers are like quarter horses rather than asking him to go for a mile. And sometimes a fella can relieve very well in the 8th inning, but not in the 9th inning. Something happens mentally. Not saying that's happening to Hernandez, but it's a thought. They would just as soon not bring in Cooks. As we mentioned, he's had tendinitis. He's been on the DL, but he did pitch last night, and now they have him thrown in the pen. So here is Loney coming off the bench, hitting .256. James as a pinch hitter, 0 for 5. 4 home runs, 33 runs batted in. Loney batting for McDougald and Tony Gwynn on deck. Nobody out, 2 on, and ball 1. Though Hernandez, make no mistake about it, is struggling. Loney is the 3rd Dodger pinch hitter. Velez grounded out, Olsen flied out, and here's James. One ball, no strikes. And ball 2. Yeah, it's the 9th inning, and Hernandez is struggling. So is Kirk Gibson internally. 2-0. And a strike. And of course, what makes it very tough for Arizona, they are fully aware that the Giants lost. They are fully aware that if they can come up with a win today, they would be 2 back of San Francisco and go up north to play in 3. 2 balls and 1 strike to Loney. And a high fly ball to center. Back goes Caldio. The runners are going to tag the catch at second base. Carroll is able to get to third, and holding at first is Gordon. So Loney, a long fly ball to center. 1 out. And the batter will be Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn is 0 for 4 today, but he was facing Saunders all 4 times. The veteran left-hander got him 2 strikeouts, a ground ball, and a fly ball. And now here comes Kirk Gibson. Gibson pointed towards Kelly Johnson. I thought maybe for a minute it would be a double switch. But Hernandez, a little scary pitching the 9th apparently, and we'll be back. is at first and third, and Arizona has a 4-run lead. Tony Gwynn will be the batter against the veteran J.J. Putz. Putz is 6'5", 250, 34 years old, out of Trenton, Michigan. He went to the University of Michigan. He pitched last night in the 9th inning, made 19 pitches, and although he walked Gwynn, he retired the side on 3 fly balls. For Putz, he comes into the game with 21 saves, picked up his 22nd, and then last night his 23rd. So right up to date, that was number 23. So Putz, who had a tender shoulder, was on the DL, is now back. And Gwynn, who walked against him last night, coming up. First and third, 1 out, 6-2 Arizona. A strike, 0-1. Looking at Putz's numbers, 1 and 2. He has 10 walks, 35 strikeouts. So a little better than 3-1. 0-1 to Tony. 0 for 4 today. And a little pop fly, and it's going to be dropping for a base hit. So scoring is Carroll. Down to second base goes Gordon. Gwynn gets a little blooper, and the batter is Aaron Miles. So Aaron Miles trying to keep it alive as Gwynn gets a little flare into left field. And a run batted in. So now it's 6-3 D-backs, and Miles actually represents the tying run at the plate with 1 out. And on deck, the heavy hitters, Ethier and then Kemp. And ball 1 to Miles. 2 ground balls fouled out, reached on an error. So again, the bullpen giving Arizona a lot of shakes. Saunders went 7 2/3. Cook couldn't do it. He had to come out. Hernandez certainly couldn't do it. And now Putz gives up a pop fly single. 1 ball and no strikes. And a fly ball to left field. Parra is there. So the runners hold. That's the 2nd out. And now the batter is Andre Ethier. Last night, Ethier was on deck when Casey Blake made the last out on a fly ball. But Ethier, who has a 4-hit game today against left-handed Joe Saunders. 3 times Andre singled to center, and 1 time he singled to left. Montero going out to talk to Putz. That would be an interesting conversation if Putz said, well, how have you been pitching him? And he's 4 for 4. Ethier facing Putz, coming into last night's game 0 for 2. Ethier 10 home runs and representing the tying run against Putz. If you're thinking home run, we'll check Putz. He's allowed 4 home runs. And ball 1. On deck, Matt Kemp. 6-3 Diamondbacks. Dodgers refuse to go quietly here in the bottom of the 9th. One and 0. That's a strike. If you're wondering about Ethier having a 5-hit game, he's actually had 2 in his career. The last time he had a 5-hit game, you have to go back to 2008. One ball and 1 strike. 1 and 2. So the ball game's certainly on the line here. D. Gordon at second, Tony Gwynn at first. One and two. Fouled away. With puts, he has a two-seamer that's been clocked as high as 97. Then he has the four-seamer about 94. The two-seamer sinks. Then he has a hard slider, a change. A few years ago he added a splitter, but basically in relief now he relies primarily on the fastball and the splitter. 1-2 to Andre Ethier. Foul back. Down in the Dodger bullpen, just as they did last night when they were trailing by 2, Javi Guerra gets up just in case the Dodgers get off the floor and send it into extra innings. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ethier, the tying run at the plate, the outfield deep. Cowgill shading him a little towards left center, and Upton very deep in right. And a high fly ball into shallow right center. It is Upton, and that's the ball game. So the Dodgers rally, get 1, and come up short. 6 runs, 10 hits, 1 error for the D-backs. 3 runs, 12 hits, 1 error for the Dodgers. And the winner is Joe Saunders. He beats the Dodgers for the first time this year. He's 1-2, 2-4 lifetime. For De La Rosa, the loser, he is 1-4 now at home and 4-5 against the league. Putz, by the way, made 10 pitches to get the game over. So the Diamondbacks win 2 out of 3. The Giants lost today, and Arizona is heading for San Francisco, trailing the Giants by 2. The Dodgers go to San Diego. Clayton Kershaw tomorrow night trying to win his 13th. That will be on Prime Ticket. Stay tuned for Dodgers Live coming up next. Good afternoon, everybody.